Good afternoon, everybody, and welcome to Valley of the Whispering Titans by Jesse Decker. I'll be your games master today, and if you wonder why I'm slightly laughing, it's because my players' mics are still muted to the stream, so you can't hear them, but they're all trying to make me laugh, or at least one of them's trying to make me laugh and succeeding for a change. So I do apologise. So, Valley of the Whispering Titans by Jesse Decker. The rule system we'll be using is oh, I've completely lost it already. Is Fantasy Age by Green Ronin Games. I'll be your games master. I've forgotten who I am as well. No, I'm Bryan F. Irving. I'm from DH9 Radio and Gethsemane Games. And I'm going to open their mics in a second, so, God save us all.
Nobody else will.
Exactly, and you are live to the unsuspecting audience. As you can tell, we're all in a slightly daft mood today. This is probably because it's unusually warm in the northeast of England, and our brains all start to malfunction once it gets above about 9 degrees centigrade. Okay, so your cast today are Patrick Heavyside as Kerj Razorclaw.
Hello.
Louise Morris as Nicholas Marty.
Hello, if I'm not still muted.
You're not still muted. Sean McGuile as Alderan Toleran.
Afternoon.
The cast in general will be playing Tamara Greyhawk. They've already said hello, so that's fair enough. I'm Bryan F. Irving, as I mentioned. I'm the Games Master. The adventure was originally, as I mentioned, by Jesse Decker, although it has been heavily modified by myself for our purposes and largely to prevent anybody who's going to play in the game from getting spoilers from our feed, so that you'll not know what was originally in it and what I modified. It originally appeared in the Age Lairs book, the Fantasy Age Lairs book, which I can heartily recommend to anybody who's interested in finding some interesting adventures for their Fantasy Age game, or indeed for any other game, actually fairly easily convertible if you wanted to use it in some other game instead. Where we left the party last was they had finally made contact with the Valley Master, who turned out to be the same Callum that was Kerj's friend years beforehand, about a decade earlier when they were younger. A druid who'd gone missing, and it's the reason the party came to the Valley of the Whispering Titans was to see what had happened to their friend. Turned out their friend had become the Valley Master, who is, or was, the very enemy that had been warping the creatures and animals of the valley and sending them to attack in waves. At the end of last week, they finally brought Callum down. He's collapsed into unconsciousness, although they are attempting to keep him alive after a titanic battle, if you excuse the mild pun, given the name of the adventure, inside one of the gigantic skulls on the southern side of the valley. Currently with the party is Malorsa the Fae, who in the final moments of the battle fought alongside them, although as somebody who's been pulled this way and that by the insipid powers of the valley, there was a point during the fight when she was on the other side. The party are now ready for us to rejoin them as they stand over the prone, unconscious body of the Valley Master, Kerj's old friend Callum, and consider what to do next. I'll just drag the maps over, the views over to, pick the whole thing up there. There we go. So we should be, it's okay, we should be seeing the map resolved shortly, although I'm still getting a black screen. There we go. That's interesting. I got a black screen and then a perfect resolution, which usually doesn't happen. Usually we get
the exact same thing happened to me too.
I wonder if that's a new modification to how Roll20 worked, because it used to bring you over with an awful resolution and you had to sit and watch it resolve.
3 hours to load.
No, mine was still the same.
Yours was still the same, was it? Oh well, that's that theory out the window. Okay, so as the din of battle is still echoing around the inside of this titanic skull, what would you all like to do next? Melossa's
Tell a
looking a
joke.
bit stunned, of course, yes.
Right.
So-
If I take horse form, and you want to get me loaded up with him, Aldrin to accompany me, and I gallop him the hell out of the valley altogether. We get him away from the influence of the place, and then in the meantime, Nicholas, you can begin your investigation with Melosa and try and figure out what to do next.
Also, we were leaving your bird, whose name I've forgotten, with us.
Quoth.
Yeah. Quoth can stay with you, and
If there's
in the-
even the slightest hint that Melosa or I, or even Tamara comes under any influence, I'm going to send Quoth back to you.
Okay.
That's right.
I'm just bringing the other characters down, so I've got everybody sort of clustered around the unconscious body of Callum. Okay, so you're starting to change into your horse form. Do you have a horse form on your
I
options?
do indeed, yes.
Excellent. So you can flip it over to the horse form.
Sorry, I thought. Right, when you asked that question, I thought you meant. Is that one of the minor threats I'm allowed to change into?
Oh yeah,
Not-
no, man.
Not do I have the token?
Yeah.
So I'm not sure on that, Scott. I'll have to
Okay.
check.
Let me just have a look. It should be on this rollable table with your name on it. We have bat, cat, hawk, raven, dog, bison, wolf. New item, which appears to be a crocodile. Tiger. Don't currently seem to have a horse, so
No, she
I
doesn't.
will add a horse for you. Just give me
Thank
a
you.
second. Add item.
The horse, my roll table.
For a horse, yes. I'll need to find one in the what's names? In the library.
Yes. So while you're doing that, we can tell the joke and ask why cats laugh.
I don't know why the cats laugh.
Because they're amused.
Oh, God.
Okay, we have several horses. I'm just looking through the different. Right, there's one here that doesn't have tack or a saddle on it and isn't a nightmare.
Mhm.
So let's use that one. So save changes. It should now be the last one in your.
Lovely, thank you.
No problem. Also, I'm just going to check which APIs are installed, because I might have the one installed that will allow you to move. No, it doesn't look like I have.
That hasn't come across to my choosable list.
Has it not? Right, okay.
No.
Now I think I know why. Okay. What I'm going to have to do, I just need to see where you are, and I need to delete you and put you back on. That will do it. Is this
Okay.
you here? Yep, that's you there. Delete. And then if I put you back on by dragging that table out as a token. Rollable tables, Kerj, token. There you go, that one should. I will also need to update that on your character sheet for you.
I can't control him.
Okay. It's going well, isn't it? Control. Okay, if I just make that Kerj in there.
Excuse me a second, Brian.
Okay, no problem. There we go. Kerj Razor Claw. Just gonna mute your. Oh, it's okay. Stop now. Just gonna put the Kerj Razor Claw in there. Check the dynamic lighting is on. Yep. Then we'll open Kerj's character sheet and update it there. If you're watching at home, sorry about this. You're largely just seeing how certain things are done in Roll20 in the back end here as a games master. So we need to remove the old token because that now has the earlier version of the thing on, and then we need to. That's okay. Right, yes. Okay, I'll just turn your mic back on, then there you go. Right, that should be it now. So you should be able to change to a horsey, and you should be able to control yourself and see things and so on.
Lovely, thank you.
Right. Slight issue there. My health disappeared.
Your health disappeared.
Yeah, originally yeah.
My health is still there, but my magic points have disappeared, and Tamara seems to have gained some.
Well, I've added the thing for a breather back to Tamara.
Right,
Oh,
that'll
fair.
be why. That'll be why.
That's why she's regained health. I didn't have any health at all. It was just blank.
Is that on your character sheet or just on your token?
Character sheet.
Oh, okay. That means somebody's been...
My token.
Right. That sounds like somebody's been adjusting the character sheets again. The character sheet developer must have made another tweak, which means usually what happens, we then have to find out what changed and click various buttons to get it back to where it operates. But we'll find out that as we go.
So I don't know how injured I was previously. I had taken some damage, but...
Okay, see if it's mentioned in my notes. I don't think it was a great deal.
Yeah, I was going to say, I don't think I've taken enough, which would put me down below getting everything back from a breather.
No, I don't either, actually. Because you're very hard to hit in the first place, and you only got hit a couple of times. So,
and then ran away.
And then ran away, yes. That horse is looking a little bit on the small side. I'm just going to expand the size of the token.
He's got a sore throat.
Mm-hmm.
He's got a sore throat. He's just a little horse.
Little horse, yes. Okay, so Callum's down. Kerj is changing into his horsey form, ready to have Callum loaded across his back, and you're all discussing what the plan is, essentially. Well, Lorsa's looking quite shocked, like as if she's in physical shock, rather than just kind of, oh, that surprised me a bit. Actually in shock. She's shaking slightly, she's a bit wide-eyed, not quite sure what's going on. She's kind of looking around and is trying to get Kerj's attention. Okay, and that was lesser beast form for Kerj to change into his horsey form. Okay, unfortunately you can't speak in this form. It's going to be a little bit awkward because Melissa's trying to talk to you.
Oh, God.
That ain't language across the club.
Okay, hang about. Right. But bearing in mind that we were talking about the plan, and then we were trying to get the system to have a horse form in it.
Yeah.
If Melosa was trying to talk to me at some point between me being a tiger, then being a bear, then being a horse, I probably would have not cast that spell.
Okay, well you can hold
Yes.
that off until she's finished talking if you'd like.
Right.
It would depend very much because you had a very strong idea of what you wanted to do, get into horse
That
form,
is
get
true.
him out of here. You might
That's
not have
true.
been paying attention, so let's find out, and we'll do that by making a perception hearing test to see if you were actually paying attention or if you were just ignoring and concentrating on what you were doing. Because she doesn't speak immediately, because as I say, she's in a touch of shock.
Fair enough.
So I'm going to give it a target number of 11. Let's see if you can pass that. If you fail, you
Perception.
cast perception hearing. Yeah. If you fail, you cast beast form anyway. You've succeeded, so it occurs to you before you've cast the spell, whilst you're still recovering from having changed in from tiger form back into your bearman form.
Yes.
You're taking like a second or two just to get your head back into like bear person, which is now a giant bear person. So I now have
Fee,
to
fi, for fun, Melosa. What are you trying to say?
decrease. Right. The master is down, but not for long. The valley will seek a new master. The valley will seek the weakest willed unless someone volunteers. You should be the new master. You're a druid. You understand the ways of nature.
The master is the essence of corruption. Look at what's happened here. Look at what's happened to you.
You are stronger willed. You would not be perverted by the valley, she says.
How do you know that?
I hope she did that quite as high pitched there.
Yeah, that's exactly how she did it.
If only you were a drac.
Yeah.
With a high willpower. And you go, what magic?
Yeah.
I don't see any magic.
She kind of shrugs a bit and says, in truth, I do not.
No, not the most convincing arguments, Melissa.
But somebody will have to be master. The valley needs a master, and it's not going to be me.
Why does the valley need a master?
It has always been thus.
That sounds dangerous.
Um.
And not like it's an actual reason, just that it's...
We've always done it this way.
Yeah, exactly.
It sounds a bit traditional to me.
It
That
does.
just sounds like inertia.
No, they're a mediocre electronic band from the late 20th century. And that email address for Inertia fans to complain to me is dh9radio@mail.com. Yeah, sorry, scrub that. She didn't actually say that, obviously. She does seem a bit taken aback. She's a little bit... it never occurred to her that people would just go, I'm not doing that.
We don't want the power.
The thing is, there is no power. You become a quite literal tool. In every sense of the word. You are used by the valley, and you're not very nice to be around. Melissa, how about we get you out of the valley and out of its influence? Because it's clearly still doing things to you and puppeting you around.
She shrugs and says, I cannot leave the valley.
Why?
I am a spirit that is created by the valley. I was created here. We don't exist if we reign too far from our...
We,
nature spirits. Make an arcane law roll.
And while we're at it, what's the nature of the Valley Hunter?
The Valley Hunter was a victim of the valley long ago. Okay, you're not convinced about that. You've heard of nature spirits that have been able to wander beyond where they're created. Dryads are kind of bound to their tree, certainly, but they should still be able to wander far and wide, to an extent.
What if we actually get a plant from the valley, we put it in a pot, and we take it with us?
Like Dracula out.
It's Dracula out. Well,
And bind it to that tree.
it might be possible. Could I also get a... Well, actually, no, I'm not going to suggest that. What I am going to do, though, is I'm going to pop my master handout out. And then zap it over onto my other screen so that I can grab things quickly as I need them. Right, sorry, go ahead.
While all this is going on, I would suggest that we bind and gag and treat the wounds of Callum there.
Okay, yes, would anybody like to give him a first aid roll?
Go on.
We're not going to make him conscious, by the way.
Okay.
No.
That's
And
fine.
we know that he regenerates.
He does, yes.
So we don't need to do a
don't.
thing.
Yeah, can I just check him for anything vaguely life-threatening and just stop that from happening?
Right, taking a look at him, there's nothing life-threatening. The last blow that knocked him out, there's barely any signs of it anymore. He's regenerating fairly swiftly.
Oh, I'll go through his belongings to see where his mage font is, if he has one. and I'll drain it.
And we'll take away his staff or whatever.
Okay.
Yeah.
And I'll go through his pockets for loose change.
Okay, well, his staff is his arcane device, but it doesn't appear to have a mage font.
It wasn't the hat then.
It wasn't the hat, no, it was the staff.
The only mage in existence without a mage front.
No, I've got, I think, 3 mages on the Feywild, and only one of them has a mage font. She only found one week before last, like 2 sessions back. So, yes, your party seems to have collected most of the world's mage fonts, I think.
Oh,
Wearing a necklace of 6 of them.
Sounds
Mage
like you're a
fonts, what are you talking
target.
about?
So yes, there are. They're not rare exactly, but they're also not the sort of thing you tend to find out in the middle of an uncivilized valley. So the
He might have brought one with him, though.
he might have done, but he's quite a young druid when you last saw him.
Fair enough.
So he's only in his early 30s now, and you saw him about 10-ish years ago. So
Yes.
Technically right, so let's proceed on with the plan then. I take it everybody can take a breather while all this is going on.
you can all take a breather if you'd like to, which is 5 health points plus your level plus your constitution you can return.
Right, so I've already marked Tamara up. Marked myself back up. Nicholas Marty's now back up.
Yeah.
I'm done.
Okay, grand. That would also give him a chance for a breather as well, of course. So let me just pull up.
Yeah. So tied up, face down, and gagged.
Yes.
Oh, don't do it face down. We don't want to suffocate him.
Good point. Yeah. Okay. So his constitution. What is his constitution?
With a raven sat on his forehead, waiting to peck at the least move.
His
Aye, aye.
constitution's not that high actually. So 6, 7. Plus it would be several minutes. So actually, yeah, he's going to be fully healed as well. So by
What?
the time you've had your rest, you can't see any injuries on him at all. It's like they've all just closed up really, really rapidly. He still appears to be unconscious, but you can't see any physical injuries on him anymore.
Let's get him bound.
Oh, he's
I've already done that.
Yeah, Sean
Right.
said you were binding him
Oh, good, okay.
before you took
So-
your rest, which seems...
So he's bound. He doesn't have his arcane device.
No, he doesn't have his arcane device either.
Good.
No. Melosa's still a bit cautious of him. She's going to hide in this tree.
Okay.
She's not in the tree in a sort of dryad sense. She's in the tree as in sitting in the branches sort of sense.
I'll say to Melosa, everything that you've recalled up to now, everything that you've told us has been largely false. I don't believe for a second that what the valley has told you about you not existing outside of it is true either. I think that's another means of control.
Okay, try and convince her. Make a communication is the word I mean.
Nature exists outside of this valley, and it doesn't have the valley's influence over it. You will, if anything, you will be closer to nature outside of it.
She looks a bit skeptical, but let's just see if you can convince her. That's pretty convincing. Say 17, yes.
Another
Okay.
convincing roll. He's on a roll today.
He is. Okay, so yes. Okay, she says kind of. I'm not entirely sure, but eventually you've got her convinced enough that she's willing to kind of try it. She's hesitant. She's hesitant to try it, but she'll try it on the basis of if you're wrong, it's not like she'll disappear outside the valley. It's just like she won't be able to leave. So
Yeah.
she'll find out that way. She's still a bit
Skeptical.
Skeptical, though, yeah.
Okay, are we doing this or what?
Yeah, we're doing it.
Okay, what's the exact plan?
Horse, load him on, we run for it.
Okay.
We're splitting the party.
We are.
You're splitting the party, right? Okay.
Can Melorsa travel as fast as a horse and an elf?
Probably travel a bit faster, I'd have thought.
She can't by running, no, but she can meet you closer to the valley entrance by porting through this tree and appearing at another one.
We'll do that then.
Okay. What are the rest of you doing whilst
You're going to try and decurse the valley somehow.
You're gonna try... Ah, right, okay.
Is there anything to do
The
a
plan
ritual
was-
on in
Yeah,
this
the plan was
skull?
initially hoping Melorsa would be a bit more, helpful. But, no plan ever seems to survive the first 3 seconds of it.
Well, if there was something you expected help with, you can ask her before she disappears through the tree.
I don't think she actually will be very much help, because I know there was talk of rituals to decursify, and we were going to spread it out between
right,
us.
Yes, yeah.
But
No, she's
So,
probably not going to be that helpful.
yeah, so I am going to have a look around and see if there are any clues within the skull anywhere.
I'll tell you what.
Watch
to
out for
help-
the vines.
To help with that,
Yeah.
when I cast Lesser Beast Form to turn into a horse, I got 6 points of stunts.
You did.
Okay.
I'm going to use 5 of those stunts to disrupt magic.
Ooh.
Okay, right, you can do that. But you'd have to do that when you're changing, obviously. Cause
Yes.
You get...
Yeah.
So you're changing into the horse, so if you want to flip yourself back to a horse again,
Yeah.
and I will then find Alduin's over here. Horsey Kerj is over here. I will grab you two, copy,
We need Callum as well.
and you need Callum as well. Okay, Quoth you said was staying here though, didn't you?
Yeah,
Mhm.
Course and Samara are staying here with me.
Okay. So carry tokens, carry above. There we go. And if I just move Kerj up one now, he should. Yeah, there we go. So I now copy those, and I'll temporarily move you onto the Games Master's lair here, so that the others can't see you. I take it you two can still see the scene through Tamara's eyes.
Yes.
Yeah, brilliant. Right, good. All's working for a change. Right. So I'm going to start here and then deal with you guys, because obviously the party's splitting, so I'm going to start on the map I'm currently in. So, there was a 6 stunt points worth of magical disruptions. So, you get the sense that there is something powerful about this skull that's kind of on the fritz at the moment. You just get that sense of, when a electrical device is still kind of working, but it's on the way out, and you hear little buzzes and sort of
It
thing.
just beeps all night.
Or just beeps all night, yeah, or something along those lines. Or in the case of our cooker, it just trips out all the electrical switches for the entire house.
Well, something that is bugging me about this one is absolutely nothing seems to have come up yet to do with the fate magic it warned about outside.
Yes, indeed. That does seem a touch odd to you so far. However, you're going to be studying this this skull, trying to get a sense of it, trying to get an essence of it, trying to read those strange, excuse me, those strange runic magical inscriptions that appeared on the inside of the skull when Kerj disrupted the magic that was hiding them from you.
Oh, hello.
So, yes. So, could I get a intelligence arcana roll from you, please?
Arcane law, is it?
I don't have arcane law.
Sorry, arcane law. Yeah.
Law.
Do you
have
have bardic law?
Can I work in on that one, and then I can clop with my hooves to communicate things?
I thought you guys were leaving.
Oh,
Yeah.
we're already gone.
Can I do a
that's
straight-
entirely up to you guys. That was just how I understood it. But if I've misunderstood and you're not leaving yet, that's fine.
I thought
then
we
the
were
answer would
leaving
be
as
yes.
fast as possible.
Yeah,
Yeah,
true. Okay,
Okay.
fair enough.
Can I do a straight intelligence roll? Otherwise, I've
Yeah,
got
yeah, yeah.
musical, water, and protection.
Well, you are a mage, so you can make a straight intelligence roll, yes.
Okay.
11. Okay. You're barely making sense of the runes. You're starting to make sense of it, but you are only kind of barely getting the gist of it. It's quite difficult, and the fact that the runes can only be seen when you look at them from a certain angle is
Ooh,
really not helping. But you're kind of getting there.
nothing triggering up any memories from when I was with the Company of Light or anything.
No, not particularly. No.
Okay.
What you're getting is that this place appears to be the. That's the wrong one. I nearly gave the info on the wrong skull there.
Ooh.
It appears to have vanished. So this entire skull appears to have vanished.
Entering the Twilight Zone.
Given
Genuinely,
his best impression of Jonathan Harker, he just sort of looks around and goes,
Skull of Fortune, there it is. There it is, hiding in plain sight on my notes here. Highly illustrated with an extremely colourful picture right next to it in the other column, just to make it almost impossible to see. Which, obviously that's me being facetious. It should have been very easy to find. How I kept scrolling past it without noticing, I have no idea. Okay, so the sense you're getting, you're starting to learn that there is a ritual here, very similar to the one you carried out on the Skull of Fear, that should wrest the skull's control away from the current owner. However, you're also aware that there are other elements to the ritual that would give you control of it. So you could actually take control of this skull rather than just wresting it away from everybody and just leaving it out there for any Tom, Dick or Harry to come along and take control. And after all, it's perfectly clear that if you've been left in charge here somehow, then obviously the only right and proper thing to do is for you to take control of this skull. In fact, not just this skull. You think you should take control of all the skulls across the valley. Why shouldn't you be the Valley Master? How's
Because
your
I'm not-
willpower?
Please don't turn me into Nicholas Stalin. I have a willpower of 2.
Okay, so you've got quite a strong willpower.
Not a great roll, though.
Oh dear.
Courage!
Courage is not going to help. Self-discipline might have done.
Oh no.
But the actual secret note that we left for tomorrow was if Nicholas Marty starts acting weird, knock him over the head.
Well, would she
Wasn't
know?
that much of a secret.
Yes. Would she even notice he's acting weird? Currently, he's just working out what the runes saying. You've also learned the power of this place. So, in this place, Fate Arcana spells are easier to cast. They would cost 1 magic point fewer than others. Also, the place has a special power available only to the person who controls the skull. And that person gains a stunt. It's a 0 cost stunt, but it can only be used when you would have generated stunts. But it won't cost you any of those stunt points to use. You gain up to 4 stunt points that you use on your next action. But you would also lose the same amount of health on that next action when you use those stunts. In fact, you'd lose double.
Okay.
Sucks the life out of you.
If, however, you were to gain control of the entire valley, then you would still get the advantages, but without the disadvantages. And you're pretty sure with your strong will you can control this valley. These weak-willed fools that keep being perverted by the valley itself, that's clearly because they are lesser mortals than you are.
Feeling very Pied Piper here. Then.
That's when you wish you were Garkath.
Yes.
Clearly, this is what that stone outside that was talking about fate was. It's obviously my fate to be here right now,
Yes.
taking this power.
Indeed, so it would seem.
It would make an excellent song as well.
It would make an excellent song. If you were
Really?
still interested in singing songs to those mere mortals.
So I'm gonna see if I can keep reading or anything.
Okay. You continue reading until you're fairly sure that you would be able to conduct both the rituals. The ritual that would remove the skull from the control of the current master, and the ritual that would grant control to the rightful master, who was clearly you. Obviously, even Kerj and Alderan realised that. Otherwise, they'd be here to stop you. You know that the real reason they've left is because they know that you're the only person who should have control of this valley. Meanwhile, heading over onto the other map, the map of the valley, eventually. It's taken a little while to come across for me. There we go. I'll just drag the rest of you over. We currently have the party's token here, so that we'll use that for those of you who are heading back. What route would you like to try and take?
Can we go along the? How difficult is it?
Mhm.
Right, I'll draw on the map
Yeah,
here.
just draw lines
Right.
on the map. That's
How
fine.
difficult is it to go kind of along the edge this way?
Can we go due south? Can we just go straight down and
There's a
out
ma-
of the valley?
There's a mountain.
Yeah, there's mountains to the south.
Off to the south, there's a mountain.
So you'd be going
Va-
up. It'd be climbing rather than.
And there's no kind of easily traversable pass or anything?
Well, if you
You're in it.
transformed into a mountain goat,
Yeah.
You're in the easily passable pass through the mountains. Either side of it, the mountains are get quite dense. However, Sean's suggestion of going that way.
Yeah. That does look best.
I'm just checking my geographic notes. Yes, that looks as if it should be doable. Once you get to the far end, you might have a little bit trouble getting down, but it's not. It doesn't run all the way down to the valley floor without a bit of a cliff, but there's also an area about sort of here-ish, which is not too bad and might be traversable.
that looks like a slope on this map, though. Very much like this bit over here.
That there, yeah. Yeah, this kind of area is a slope down. It doesn't come sort of all the way down, so there's a little bit of bumpiness that you think you could probably traverse. It slopes down to within about 3 meters of the valley floor, and then drops the last 3 meters. Whereas along the rest of the line, it would be too steep. So all the way over to there is traversable, and then you get there, and it probably is, but it'll be a little bit tricky. So, yeah, that's an option if you'd like to try it.
We're doing it? Let's do it then.
You gonna do it?
Right, so my base speed is 17. Kerj as a horse can do 18.
Okay.
Right. How fast can we move along the valley side?
Let's see now.
Given that he's actually carrying what's his face, we'll lash him on so he can't fall off.
Yeah.
Or is he able to carry both me and the guy?
What would your strength be in horse form?
Strength of a horse.
Strength of a horse.
5 with might.
5 with might, yes, you can carry the 2 of them. It'll be tiring, but you can do it. So we're talking about a good 500 metres. So that's half a kilometre across mountainous terrain. You're probably talking, you're not going to be able to move terribly quickly because of the type of terrain. But having said that, you'd be moving more quickly across that ridge than you would down in the valley floor, because the wood's quite thick and troublesome, and even harder underfoot. So I'm thinking you could probably do that safely in about half an hour.
Okay.
Or you could do it slightly less safely in less time.
Speed is of the essence, yeah, Sean?
Yeah, well, yeah. I mean, it's the thing though. But I mean, dexterity for me is a 5.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Right. Missed footing. I don't know what your dexterity is.
0.
Yeah.
I have hooves.
You're not really a mountain goat at this point.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so I'm able to jump about, as it were, quite substantially, and not fall over. I also have climbing skill as well. So I don't know. You set the pace, and I'll basically
You
cover
keep
you.
up, yeah. Okay.
I can easily keep up with you, especially if you can't move at that is full speed as a horse across the terrain.
Well, are we best taking a route that's the shortest, or are we best taking a route that's the fastest?
Well, that's the route that's the shortest.
And the fastest.
And
technically it's the fastest as well, because running through the woods means we're going to encounter things.
You're going to encounter things.
There's no valley master to control them, though.
Is the huntsman still around?
And you killed the huntsman during the fight as well. You even managed to destroy his ghostly form.
Did we?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, he's not going to recombine and come back, is he not?
Oh, I didn't say he wasn't going to recombine and come back.
Well, that's the thing. Like, so he's down, but he's not out of the situation.
As far as you know, he's dead at the moment. But I mean, you've never actually killed, in inverted commas, the spirit form before, yeah. So you don't know.
Right. Yeah. So currently at this point, right, there's vines and other doohickeys in the woods there, potentially traps, etc. Mm-hmm. And you don't want to fall into one of them. Mm-hmm. So I would be best route is across the hills.
We don't know that there aren't traps up here as well.
But there's less terrain to conceal them in.
Yes, that is true. However,
hard rock. You dig a hole in hard rock. It's going to look like a hole in hard rock. Yeah. Dig a hole in soft earth, cover it over with some fallen leaves in the woods. How can you see it?
Yeah, everything you're saying is true, but of course the enemy may have thought of that as well.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
In fact, Aldrin, do you want to go on ahead and act as a spotter?
Well, that's probably a good idea then.
Aldrin, that looks dangerous. Do you want to go?
Yeah, well, we'll proceed with as much pace and as much caution as we can.
Well, think about it this way. What's better going on ahead? The huge lumbering beast with a previous valley master on its back?
I'm not.
Or the sharp-eyed elf? No, I'm answering Brian's brevity from earlier.
I'm just putting it out there. I think he meant levity as well, but yes.
Hang on, I'll have to look that up.
Levity is humour, brevity is shortness.
Right, okay.
Okay.
And they say this is
sobriety is not being drunk.
Yeah, well, yes, great. Not to be confused with sorority, which is something else again.
Due to the Breville, which is a toaster.
Indeed so, yes. Or now I fancy a toasted cheese sandwich. Thanks for that. Okay, So you're making it across the. You're trying the route that Sean suggested. Are you doing it at a cautious pace, or are you sort of galloping along?
With the discussion that we've just had in the spoken form and the clumping of hooves,
Ah, yes, of course.
I think probably going more cautiously would be wise.
Going more cautiously. Okay. Give me a. This is interesting because normally I'd ask for a riding check, but you are actually the horse.
Yes.
which makes it a little bit. Give me a dexterity riding check anyway.
Okay.
The target number, because you're going cautiously, is really low, so it's 7 or better you're going to need. And both you and Alderan can make the roll for the period when he's riding on you, and we'll use the one that gets the highest.
Right. So going back to the start for the test.
Mhm.
Did you say dexterity riding?
Yes.
Right. My dexterity is 0, and I don't have the riding
Okay.
Yeah.
No problem.
focus,
Yeah.
Straight dex, then.
which as a horse
Yeah.
would be surprising if I did.
I suppose it would. Yes.
There's only one context.
No. If you've ever read C.S. Lewis as A Horse and His Boy,
I haven't.
Neither have I.
It's the best one.
heresy. I hear heretics in the room at this point.
Oh,
How can you not be an expert on Narnia if you haven't read that?
I don't claim to be an expert on Narnia as the easiest answer. Although I did quite like Narnia as a youth, I must admit. So, go ahead and make those dexterity tests for me.
Okay. So this is to keep him on my back.
This is to avoid falling off the cliff in the narrowest points, because there's just a couple of narrow points on the route.
Okay.
Well, there's 3, actually, that I can see. 17, dead easy.
Well, okay, so just 3d6 plus nothing then.
Yeah.
There you go.
8, so you'd have passed anyway, but I did say I was taking the highest of the two of you, so Alderan has made this look easy. You're kind of tentative because you're not quite used to being in a horse form yet, and you're a bit nervous when you get to the narrower parts because you're aware of the fact that you're currently a much bigger animal than Kerj in his natural form.
Mhm.
And you're just a little bit nervous, but Alderan guides you through it, being used to riding horses in his youth. You manage to get past all the most difficult points till you're over here where the thing goes down into the valley floor. So I'm just going to pan you over to the valley floor, or rather the steep hill map, as you are coming down there. And there you go. So, give me a perception hearing test.
Perception hearing. What can we hear? Can we hear anything? 12. Ooh, that was good.
I've just got to double check
Yep.
whether perception carries over from your base form into your animal form. And I know something
last time
does.
and I still can't remember. Intelligence certainly carries over. You keep your
Yes.
Willpower does.
and willpower does. I can't remember.
Yeah, it's intelligence and willpower and focuses for both of those.
For both.
You gain the beast's perception. Okay, so a horse is perception 1 with hearing.
Okay, I've just made a whispered roll there to myself to see what the target number is. Or have I? Oh, yes, I have. Because although Alderan hasn't heard it, Kerj the horse is spooked by the sound of a snapping twig in the distance. I say twig.
Okay.
It was too loud to be a twig. Let's say branch. Which means it's something heavy enough to break a
Okay, coming to a halt and giving a bit of a snort to Aldrin.
Okay. So, Kerj comes to a halt and kind of looks at Aldrin in this worried way and snorts.
Okay.
Also, if anybody's interested, your bound and gagged prisoner is awake. But he's pretending not to be.
But we're aware of this. We're aware that he's awake.
Yeah, you're aware at this point.
Okay.
He's not lying slumped on top of you anymore. He's tensed up, I would presume.
Exactly, yes. When you go over bumpy bits, you can feel him actually react to it. So you know he's actually awake.
So he's awake, and something in the valley has made a noise up ahead.
Yes, that's right. As you can see, you're on quite a steep hill down there to get back to the valley floor. And it's something ahead and down. Sort of over top leftish type of way.
Okay.
I'm inclined to let him slip off my back and then try and bonk him on the head again.
Okay.
Clonk him with a hoof.
Yeah.
So you let's make a opposed thingy roll. What's the thingy? I mean, dexterity roll. I'll give him a penalty.
Dexterity again?
Yeah, afraid so. I'm giving him a 2-point penalty because he's bound and gagged.
Yeah.
So whatever I roll here, we'll take 2 off that. So he got 7, minus 2 is 5.
I got 7.
You got 7, but without the minus 2, that means he manages to... he's holding on for dear life by kind of digging his elbows and his knees in, and you just kind of buck and eventually slides off the... Poof! Roll D6 damage for me.
He falls on the floor. Hits his head and knocks him knocked out.
Bonk.
Okay. I'm just going to drop all carried tokens. There you go. And you have dealt him 6 points of damage as he lands heavily on his head. Ouch!
Mm-hmm.
I mean... Okay, so I'm going to make another...
Right, if he's not unconscious,
yeah,
I'm gonna be giving him a swift kick.
Okay, make an attack roll. His defense is -3 because obviously he's bound, and you get +1 to hit anyway because he's prone.
He's prone. Right. So my attack of kick is on. So that's from accuracy. So my attack rolls are +2. Okay, so +1 from being prone. Take a bit of that.
Okay, thunk. Make a kick damage roll for him as well.
And I'm going to be readying an arrow.
1d6 +5. Bonk.
7 there. Okay. So you've thumped him heavily on the head, and he's kind of sagged down again.
Right. So nudge him, sort of nuzzle him about. Is he definitely out cold again, or is he still awake?
He seems to be still awake, if we're honest.
I'm going to keep doing this until he's unconscious.
Okay, so you're just trampling him until he's unconscious.
Pretty much.
I think at that point he's probably going to have to react in some way. So I am going to take a quick bathroom break. If you guys would like to discuss any further bits to the plan, Louise in particular, have a bit of a think about how you're going to attempt to try and resist these temptations. I'll be back in a moment.
Alexa, check notifications.
One new notification from Amazon Shopping. An item is out of stock for your upcoming subscribe and save delivery. You can check for substitutes or make changes until June 2nd. Just go to Amazon, open the menu, and find subscribe and save.
Sorry, I'm not resisting temptation by reordering green tea.
Got your website.
Kev! Twitch doesn't need to hear you screaming at Alexa.
Come on, Bezo, sort this shit out.
This really feels like a commercial break.
Okay, right. So there's something in the trees over here.
Welcome to Fantasy Age, not sponsored by D&D Beyond.
Is it? How do you mean?
I can't see this map at all, so I've just got like a bright red pinging ring here.
Right. Well, we're currently here. Right.
It's all the black square to me.
Yeah. Right. Well, what I'm pinging. Right.
Yeah.
There's definitely something behind a tree here at this point. Okay. So I'm basically going to move sort of diagonally towards the right, upwards, and I'm going to shoot whatever comes out of the trees if it's anything substantial. What I really need is I need some magical bow or arrows or something.
Okay, back. So I'm going to dash back over to the Skull of Fortune again, and
Yep.
see how
Misfortune.
Oh, yes, indeed. See how Nicholas Marty's getting on with trying to resist the call of the
Nature.
Void.
yeah. So, what tactic would you like to use to try and convince the games master to give you another chance to resist the Skull's calling?
I'm gonna try humming to myself
Okay.
in order to stop being distracted by the pull of temptation.
Okay, make another
But
willpower.
I'm not gonna hum temptation to myself.
It's not Heaven 17. Right?
Yes.
No.
Okay, give me another willpower test. Self-discipline if you have that focus.
Nope. Well, that's a bit of roll.
That's a
Is
very
there
good
any
roll.
is there
6
any
points of
outward
stunts.
sign? Is there any outward sign of Nicholas succumbing to temptation whatsoever?
Well, he's not succumbing to temptation with a roll like that. So, Louise, what would you like
Excellent.
to use the 6 stunt points for?
It depends on what kind of stunts are these. Would this be role playing?
Yes.
Right, give me a second. Where's the table gone? There it is, role playing. Oh, that would be a good one, actually. 4 of them, I'm going to use Tower of Will.
Okay.
Your success gives you a sense of your own brilliance and strength of character. For the rest of the current role-playing exchange, you gain a +1 bonus to opposed tests where an opponent, I don't know if it's quite the same, tries to put you at an emotional disadvantage, such as by intimidating, impressing, bargaining with you, and so on.
Yes, that will affect. That will work for you. Yeah.
Which leaves me another 2. And I don't think either of the other 2 other role-playing stunts that would really work here.
Okay.
So I'm probably just going to use that one.
Okay. No problem. So, having regained your wits and having thrown off these dark thoughts about becoming the Valley Master, which you get the impression don't actually originate with you. In fact, now that you're humming to yourself, 2 things happen. The first of which is Tamara starts to give you a strange look, and you can see her handling her sword as if she's about to whack you over the back of the head with the butt of it, just to be on the safe side. But at the same time, you can now actually hear voices in your head, like whisperings. And you realise that these ideas about taking control of the valley for yourself didn't originate in your own mind. It's the whispers that were kind of concealing themselves that you are now able to focus on and tell that that's not you. That's something in the valley itself is causing that, or something about the valley. So what would you like to do?
I'm gonna say to Tamara, I'm okay for now, but keep an eye.
Mhm.
Just to let you know, I heard some whispers, but I'm not listening to them, and I'm humming to keep myself calm.
Okay. She looks slightly suspicious.
Yeah. But it's okay. It's okay. And I'm gonna keep trying to see if there's. Oh, actually, I'm gonna try the other. You said there was stuff on in the runes about ritual to decalcify.
Oh yes, yeah.
Yeah. Do I need anything special for that, or can I just start it?
You can just start it. Very similar
Okay.
to the last ritual you used to wrest control of the skull of fear from the Valley Master. It's kind of along the same lines, except you're really hoping you're not going to be attacked by swarms of deadly animals in the process.
Okay. Well, again, I'm gonna make sure Tamara knows exactly what I'm planning, what's going on,
Okay.
and if anything deviates from the plot, then feel free to whack me over the head with the butt of her sword. But if not, there might be some monsters coming through the mouth of this skull in a bit.
Oh, might
But
they? That's lovely. Okay, so I'm going to get you to start to make an advanced test. So you're going to take a series of tests, and every time you pass, this is to cast the ritual. Every time you pass, I'll take the result from the stunt dice and put that into your success pool.
Okay.
If you manage to get over the target number, I'm not going to tell you what the target number is, but once you manage to get over that, you've wrested control of the skull from the current Valley Master. Any round you fail the roll, however, there will be consequences for that failure.
Yeah. Okay.
Isn't that fun? Yeah.
Okay, so while that's the plan,
Mhm.
I think what Tamara would do is, out of these bushes and shrubs, which are nowhere near the vines,
Yeah.
she's going to make some sharpened stakes and place them in the ground
Mhm.
That's a really good idea.
in an arc like this,
Right, yes. Keep things at bay.
and set up some arrows, like stick them in the ground,
So she can
etc.
grab them rapidly as the fight.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Set up like a defensive, I don't know what you want to call it, position.
I'm just
Like
going to
that.
remove the markers that no longer apply. So she's no longer grappled, and she's no longer prone. She is still wearing a helmet of invisibility, though, I take it.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I will leave her little ninja mask on.
Just for the record, actually, I keep noticing this in my inventory and remembering it at stupid times that don't make sense. And I don't think this is going to be too helpful right now. But I have a vial of poison on me that I think is probably going to be a lot more useful to the archer. Probably not right now because I don't know if poison would work on strange magical enemies. But just for reference, if I ever can use it in the future, I've got it.
Right.
Okay.
Okay.
Tamara actually has a healing potion as well.
Cool.
Yes, I knew about that.
Interesting. Okay, so you're going to start your ritual, and after every round, I'm going to be jumping across to see what's happening at the other end as well. So, because each round of your ritual is going to take you a couple of minutes. It's going to be minutes long. So, you think you've got the idea of the ritual in your head. You realise that it's complicated. There's a lot of ritual pronunciations and magical incantations and semantic movements and so on, but you think you've got it. Let's find out if you're right. Let's have a willpower arcane law test. Or actually, what's your highest magical arcana focus?
Well, I've got water and protection, both at regular.
Okay.
Probably water would be a better one thematically.
Yeah. Don't think either of those are going to help, unfortunately.
Okay.
So you're going to have to just go with willpower.
Okay.
Because you don't have arcane law, do
And
you?
those are both intelligence. Arcane law is also intelligence.
Yes, that's very true.
I have courage
there would
for
have been,
willpower. That's
so,
the only focus I've got
you
in
can't.
willpower.
Sorry, it should be intelligence. Yes.
Right, okay.
I am actually going to allow you to use either intelligence or willpower, depending on which one's the highest.
Right.
Yeah.
Just for an idea,
Mhm.
maybe Nicholas Marty is inspired to make a song and dance out of it,
I've got musical lore.
Ah.
and a performance art
What a good
piece.
idea, Sean. I'm going to make a note of that. And yes, I'm going to allow that, which means I'll allow you to use your performance focus, even though it's not with the
Yeah, that's
the
communication.
attribute you would normally be making it with. So yeah, go ahead.
Because you do it as if you were being theatrical and making it, it would be
dance ritual.
it would give you that inspiration.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So if anybody's seen the intro titles to Outlander, where there's like women in white robes dancing around stones, this is kind of what's going on.
Right.
Like, it's a guy in a silly hat.
Okay, guy
Lucky
in a silly
hat. It's a lucky hat.
Lucky hat.
Not silly.
And it's
A lucky hat.
not someone singing the wrong words to the Skyboat song loudly either.
Okay, I'm sure there's a reference in that somewhere that I didn't get, but it still sounded amusing anyway. Okay, go ahead and make. Oh, so you have, right?
Yeah, I have.
Ooh, nice one. So
Really
14
good
is a
one.
pass. So singing and chanting the words to the ritual, because you just find it easier to remember songs than long pieces of just kind of dry
Mutterings.
Yeah. So you turned it into a song and started to sing it with significant success, actually. That's in the first few minutes you can actually feel the bonds that tie the skull to the current master starting to unwind, starting to loosen. The skull can't fight back this round because of your huge success, so I'm going to zip over to the map to see what those guys, the fates approve indeed, to see what those guys over there are doing on their way down the hill.
Well, whatever it is over in the trees over there on the left is.
Yes, it's definitely getting closer.
I'm ready to shoot at this point.
Okay, so you see it. It's down so it's in the trees, but it's down the hill a little bit, which gives you a slight advantage. So now that you've spotted it's there, I've just realised it appears to be approaching your butt first for reasons probably best known to itself. So let's just turn.
I was going to go to there. I presume it's something over here.
Yes.
I can see something brown.
Yeah. You can see something brown and huge through the trees. It's there's something about it that's got the kind of reminds you of Kerj in his natural form. There's something about it that seems somewhat more bird-like. You can see a mixture of feathers and short fur. Yes, it's.
I wonder who that could be.
Absolutely. So, I'm just going to clear the turn order.
All right, okay.
Removing all turns. Right. Actually, I won't because I see you've just rolled yours. I think.
Sorry, I went ahead of time there.
That's fine. Don't worry about it. I can just delete everybody else one at a time. That way,
But we
can
can't
keep,
see ourselves on there. Are we still on the Games Master's lair?
No, but that will be set up for another. That's why it's set up for another page, isn't it? So that's why you can't see it. So I will add you in manually instead, and you should be able to see yourself now.
Yeah.
Yeah, brilliant. And you've got 16 on initiative, so I'll type that in. So Patrick, if you'd like to go ahead and roll for Kerj.
Certainly.
And I will roll for the thing.
The thing.
The thing.
Crikey, that takes up a lot of space.
So
Yeah.
I'm just rolling off dex, yeah?
Yes.
Yeah.
Dex of 0. Horse is not an advantageous form for this.
Probably not, actually, no. So, and you've got 14. Let me just add you to the turn and type in 14. So that's
You
still
mean
not bad.
7.
Oh, no, that's me that got 14. That's you that got 7. I was just about to say
Damn.
that's not bad. That's the same as the definitely not an owlbear. And we'll also add the guy you're currently trampling to death. He is bound, so I'm going to give him a penalty. So I'm going to drop his dexterity by 2 for now, and then put it up as soon as I've finished rolling his initiative. And that should fix it on the... Yeah, there we go. And we will organise those descending order. And it's Alderin to go first. What would you like to do?
Right. At this point, I am going to. I don't know. Can I get a clear shot from where I am?
You can get a clear... well, I wouldn't say clear. You can get a shot from where you are, but it will be in cover. It'll be in medium cover.
Yeah. So it's about there somewhere.
Yeah,
Right.
it's about 5 metres from you.
Well, I'm going to shoot it anyway.
Okie dokie, make a roll.
Give it a swing.
So you would normally need an 11 or better to hit. Because it's in high cover, you need 13 or better. That's a hit with 6 points of stunts. What would you like to do?
That's quite a good set of stunt. I'm going to have to look at the stunt points.
Okay.
Combat stunts. Here we go. These the right combat stunts?
I can't remember.
Oh,
there might
boost
be.
on. Got boost on there, which is and grab.
In that case, no. Those are the ones.
Adrenaline rush.
Yeah, those are the ones from the playtest, which we're not actually able to use now that we're not playtesting, because the agreement was not to use them in
Right.
case they
So
don't go into the main rules.
6. Hmm.
3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14. Okay. Sorry, I'm just totting something up.
Okay, right. So stunts.
Every week I say I'm going to put the correct set of stunts in instead of the old playtest ones, and every week I forget about it, but never mind. This is liable
Okay.
to be the last episode of this adventure anyway, before we go back to the Company of Light for their
Yep.
next adventure. So, what would you like to do?
It's going to be a right. So it's effectively for 6 stunt points. It's a lightning attack.
Right, yep, okay.
Yeah. It's a pierce armor,
Right, yes.
and it's a mighty blow as well.
Mighty blow as well. Right, okay.
For
So
all
you
those.
fire your shot. It sinks deeply into the shoulder of the not an owlbear.
Right. So it does. So look at damage. Oh. So back to this so I can see the rolls. Go. 23 damage
Fucking hell. Right,
with pierced armor.
right, okay. So that's 23 damage with armor piercing on. There we go. So it's quite badly damaged and hugely enraged by the fact that you've had the audacity to shoot it
Boom.
quite heavily in the shoulder.
And
But
then it takes
before it can
another 11 points.
Do anything, you've shot it again. Now it's really upset about the whole thing. I'm not sure that. Hold on. No, that's right, it did. Yeah, okay. Right, so you take the 2 shots. The first one hits it in the shoulder. The second one hits it in somewhere you can't quite make out where because you're only seeing parts of the creature. It sort of bellow hoots in anger and anguish and starts thundering up the hill, clawing its way up the side of the hill. Here
And then I move to here.
to attack you. Right, okay.
For my minor action.
For your minor action, yes, okay. I'm going to make a perception roll to see if it noticed. If it did, it'll come after you. If it didn't, it'll come up to where the shots came from and then find a guy on a horse. Well, a guy being kicked to death by a horse.
I'm going to sit on him next.
You're going to pinwheel him, effectively, as they say.
Okay, so perception. Make a stealth roll for me, please, Sean.
Oh, right, okay.
Just so I've got something to target against.
Flat dex roll.
Okay.
Which is, unfortunately, I'm very good at.
Just not quite good enough. Have I still got this bloody thing on Whisper? Yes, I have, right.
Maybe I don't like that roll.
Actually, I'm going to roll mine because I did say this was a contested thing, so I had a target to roll for. So I'm just going to re-roll it since I accidentally had it on Whisper. I won't always do that when I feck it up. Actually, I wound up getting better. Oh no, I wound up getting exactly the same.
Oh well, there you go. So it can see me.
Yes,
it saw me running.
It saw you and has decided to come after you instead. It's just smart enough to realise that you must be the person that hurt it, so it's coming thundering down towards you, hooting and roar. It's kind of a bizarre hoot-roar sound is the best way to describe it, I think. So I just need to check its powers. Stunt, and... Ooh, does it really? Right, okay. So, it's going to attempt to claw you, because that's what it's got the most chance of hitting you with. It's going to charge, so I'm still going to take that off because I don't think it's charged far enough. And 15, is that a hit?
It is just.
It is, right you are. Don't think I stunted, I didn't, so I will just do 13 points of damage as the thing races down and claws across your chest. With its big kind of...
Bear claws?
Yeah, bear
claws. Or the owl claws?
I'm not quite sure. I think the ones at the front are owl claws, the ones at the back are bear claws. Anyway, the sharp, it hurt.
Yeah.
Kerj to go. You can hear the hooting, roaring, and that definitely sounded like Alderon screaming. What would you like to do?
Right.
No, it didn't.
To Kerj's mind, the fact that we're being attacked by an animal here, and the fact that this guy is that Callum is awake again, the two are directly connected.
Okay. Yeah.
And he's summoned that up. I need to get this guy unconscious again.
Okay.
While he's prone, I am going to sit on him and get him back unconscious.
Okay, give it a go.
What manner of thing do I roll to sit on somebody?
I'm going to call that a brawling attack.
All right. Does that run off accuracy?
Yes, it would.
Yes, it does.
Which is also 0.
Okay, good.
Much more of this, I'm going to change form.
Yeah. Unlike RuneQuest, horses in this are not really built for combat. Bizarrely, RuneQuest horses are powerful enough that you're better off staying on your horse and getting it to kick your enemy to death than you are using any weapon available to the rider.
Well, unless you charge him with a lance.
Even then, war horses do like 5d6 damage. Right, okay, so that is against Callum, who's bound, so he's not getting his dexterity bonus. That's a hit.
And he's prone. He's prone.
And he's prone, so that's a definite hit. So, it'll be strength on strength contests for you to remain on top of him now. So he's going to try and squirm out from under you. So, oh god, he's never going to get out from under a horse. Go ahead and make a strength test. Try and match it against the 11 he just got.
What's the strength of a horse?
Strength. It's 5 with might.
Oh my god! Right, yes, you can apply your might.
Lovely. Is this actively rolled?
Yeah,
Yeah, you need
Right.
you need to roll 3d6 and add 7 then in that
Yeah.
case.
Lovely, okay.
so it's possible for you to fail. It just ain't likely. Okay, so you've got him pinned for the first round. So I'm going to, since you're sitting on him, I'm going to move him back here, and I'm going to put a pinned marker on him. That looks more like a bear paw than a horse's ass, but still.
And then you're going to crush the wind out of him.
Oh, yes. I don't think I've got much choice about that matter.
Probably not. No. So you sat on him. You've got him
Yeah.
pinned at the moment, and it is now his goal. So he can do very little about this. Oh, actually, we've kind of had his go with his attempt to escape there, haven't we? So
But what does that do to him? We haven't had an effect.
he's pinned. He can't take actions except to attempt to get out. And if he fails to get out, he's going to continue to not be able to take any actions.
But does that not do him any damage? Is what I'm asking.
No, because it's a grapple attack. Well, actually, even grapple attacks do 1d3 damage. So you're a horse, which is a bit. I just add your strength. Do 1d3 plus your strength damage then.
What, 1d6 plus strength.
1d3 plus strength. Yeah,
1d3.
yeah, because it's just a grapple attack.
D3 is not on the roller.
Right, if you roll a d6
Oh, just half it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And half it.
and halve it effectively, yeah.
Right.
There is a way of typing it. I think there's backslash.
You can just
roll
backslash
1d3,
roll 1d3, yeah.
But we'll just do this. We'll just half. Well, we can't half that. So that's 1 point of damage, and you don't have any strength. You have 5 strength. don't
5,
you?
yeah.
5 strength, yeah.
So that's 5 damage. Right. So I think that's covered by. Yeah, it is. Right, okay. Not to worry. So he's pinned for this round. It is. Actually, I'll run a couple of rounds because a round is only 15 seconds, whereas Louisa's ritual is much longer. So we'll run a couple of rounds before we go back over there for her next bit, if that's okay with you. Sorry, their next bit, if that's okay with you, Louise.
Yep, that's fine.
Grand. Okay, so we are back to the start. It's Alderin to go again.
Well, it's time to shoot the owlbear.
And that's a hit. And that's some damage. Okay, so you've hit it again in the side this time and further enraged it, although it's starting to look quite badly injured to you, actually. It's bleeding from multiple wounds now. The first one you got in its shoulder's actually given it some difficulty to move that shoulder properly, so you're pretty sure that's quite badly hurt it. Your minor
And-
action. Yep.
And I'm then going to move 17 squares away from it
Mhm.
in a northwards direction,
Right, you
taunting
are.
it.
So, right, you just run off into the trees going, you can't catch me. You weird looking owl berry thing. And it is the owlbear to go next. So, realising it can't catch... Actually, I might be able to catch it. Let me just have a look. Oh, no, it could.
Chase me.
Yeah, I'm just trying to decide if it's going to chase you or go after Kerj. It's probably going to chase you, so I'm going to have to move both of you onto another piece of map.
Well, you could leave us where we are.
Yeah, we'll just leave you on there and assume that that's actually
it-
sort of 17 metres north of here.
Does it have the speed to actually get to be within?
It does, yes. If its first movement is if minor action is a movement, and its second reaction is a charge attack, then it will get to you and get +1 to
Okay.
hit. So I'm going to do that. It's going to charge you. It's going to score and I get +1 for this. So I'll keep the aim on because it's the same bonus. 19, that's a hit. Still hasn't stunted. Shame, quite some interesting stunts, but never mind. And that is 10 damage. Also, I forgot to do its corrupted regeneration. There we go. That's that. Okay. Owlbear's attacked Alderan again. It is now Kerj to go. What would you like to do?
So this guy's prone. He's restrained.
Yeah, he's muttering something at you past the gag that he's got in his mouth. You can't make it out, but you're pretty sure it's not the kind of words you'd use in front of your mother.
No, that's absolutely fine.
Do you tend to use any words through a gag to your mother?
Probably best not.
Okay.
Okay, so what would Kerj like to do?
Maintain the restraint and attempt to get him unconscious.
Okay, you can apply the damage again this round then. So sitting on him is a grapple, so it's D3 plus your strength.
Okay.
Or 1d6, I'll half that bit and then I'll add your strength, which is 5, so 7, so that gets past his armour, that would get 2 through. That's 2, there we go. It is now him to go. And the only thing he can do is attempt to escape, and of course his corrupted regeneration, so he's back up to 60 again. And attempt to escape, so if you would like to make a strength might test against his strength might test.
Okay.
Nope, he's not going to get out of that, I don't think.
So
Well, he might if you roll all ones.
Right. Do I get any additional bonus for the fact that I'm already on top of him? He's prone.
No, this is just his attempt to wiggle out from
Right.
under you.
Okay, 3d6 plus 7 then.
Plus 7, is it? Ah, right. In that case, he had no chance. Because
Strength 5 and
I forgot to add might in my head.
the
that's
might
why.
focus.
Yeah. Okay, so 7, 8, 9. He's going to need to roll at least 11 for it even to be worth you rolling. Okay, we'll make this the third combat round, and then we'll go over to see how Nicholas Marty's getting on at the end of that. So, Alderan, what would you like to do?
Well, it's shoot again time.
Okie dokie, go for it. Oh, I need to. Oh, no, I haven't got to that yet. 18 is a hit. And 15 damage. That's 11, gets past its corrupted armour. That's minus 11 on there. There we go. So that's thudded into its abdomen, and it's now bleeding from there as well. It's now got so many arrows in it. You'd think it would have come to a stop or run off by now, but these corrupted animals just seem to have no sense of their own mortality at all, or of self-preservation. It is now the not an owlbear to go, and its corrupted regeneration kicks in first, so it gets 4 back. And then it will attempt to attack you again with claws.
But of course, I did move away from it again.
You did, so it'll have to do the same. It'll have to chase you. So its minor action's always going to be to keep running after you at this rate, limiting its options. 15, so that's another hit. Still no stunts generated, so that's... I'm terrible at generating stunts. That's 12 points of damage it got you for this time.
It's still hurting me though.
Yeah.
That's a problem.
And it is Kerj to go. What would you like to do?
Again, maintaining position.
Okay.
Applying the damage again.
Yep, you can do. So that's 7 damage. That's 2 get through. I'm not even going to bother because he's going to regenerate them in a second when I do this. So it's his go, so it's your strength tests again. So Callum attempts to wiggle out from under you. He scores... It's possible. No, it's not. You've got him pinned. Okay, so he's still pinned. I think he's going to have to try and look through his powers, see if there's anything more useful he can be doing. Because he's getting nowhere here. And... oh dear. There's not much he can do while he's pinned, even with his special abilities. Yep, nothing in point of fact. Right, that's just great. So you've continue to keep him pinned. Algerion's really starting to hurt a bit with the not an elbow. Keep attacking him. However, the not an elbow is also clearly really badly injured. Could go either way at this point. Back over to Nicholas Marty in the Skull of Fortune. So
I'm going to again get a drink while you're doing this.
No problem. So, Nicholas, you've managed to cast the first part of the ritual. As you get further and further into the mindset of the magical ritual you're involved in, you start singing more loudly. You're even accompanying yourself occasionally on the flute,
Yes.
and turning this whole thing into quite a interesting charade. Tamara can't decide whether to clap or hit you with the back end of a sword.
Never let it be said that I won't make a song and dance out of everything. A huge song and dance.
Dance out of it, yeah. Okay, so go ahead and make another roll for the ritual, which is your intelligence, but I'm allowing you to add your performance bonus. That's just barely passed, but
Oof.
barely is enough. 11's exactly the target number you need.
Oof. That's the second 11 I've rolled today.
It is, yep. So I'm just going to add those 3 points into your pool. So you are inching the skull further and further towards being unwrapped from the mind of the Valley Master. You're starting to wrest it from him. We will cut back over to... Oops, it is it. Wrong button. We will cut back over to these guys. Excuse me. And it's the steep hill we're on, isn't it? Okay, don't know if Sean's back from getting a drink yet. Apparently not.
Yeah, I am.
Oh, you are? Right, okay.
Just on mute there.
That's okay. Okay, Sean, so it's Algerion's go again.
Let's see. Right. Well, we're going to have to keep shooting at it because that's the only thing we can do at this point.
It is. Okay. Go for it.
And I've closed my character sheet for some reason. Dear.
And 14 is a hit. And 17. Good grief, right, okay.
These arrows certainly do damage.
They certainly do. So,
And then I'm going to move another 17 away from it at this point.
so that's 13 gets through. It's in an extremely bad way now. However, nonetheless, it still comes after you, charging through the woods, and then leaping through some of the lower branches of trees. You can see smaller branches getting broken off as this creature leaps down at you and claws. Let's see how that pans out for it. "13, and that might be a miss, is it?
It is.
Oh, bugger, that's the first time I've generated stun points as well. I don't get them because it missed. Okay, so as it comes rushing through the forest, it leaps at you, breaking branches off the trees as it goes. The whole sort of tree shakes. Bits of leaf come down in clouds of detritus, and the thing claws at you when you duck behind the tree. You can almost hear the not an owlbear go, shit. Who does he think he is? Okay, so it will be Kerj to go next. Go ahead and keep squishing him if you want.
That's. Am I aware that he's regenerating every time this is happening? I'm actually getting nowhere. Bearing in mind
You
I have
know he
fought
does-
him directly.
Yeah, you know he does regenerate, so I suspect it's probably occurred to you, yes.
Let's see. I'm going to have to hit him with something more serious, aren't I?
I think so. Having said that, at least you're keeping him out of the fight and giving him no chance of breaking his bindings, so it's entirely up to you, whichever you think, really.
Just pick him up and throw him at a tree.
I'll need some opposable thumbs to do that.
No, you do it with your mouth. Horses got severe vicious bite to them.
That is true.
They kind of do, yeah. Let's see.
Yeah, that's one of my favourite sections in the horse clans, is where he's trying to stop his horse from biting people. His horse is called Man Killer.
Right.
And the horse is going, I saw there was a person there somewhere in front of me. Where is it? I want to bite it. Because he's got telepathy with it.
Mhm.
And he's like trying to restrain the horse from biting this woman.
Reminds me of Discworld, where the most intelligent creature on the planet was a camel.
Camel, yeah.
Yeah, called you vicious brute.
Yeah. Reminds me of my cat. She always seems to want to bite people. And by people, I mean me. and the vet, to be fair. When we picked her up from the vet the last time after she was neutered. Or was it when she had her tooth extraction? It was one or the other anyway. We went to pick her up and the vet started with, she's recovering nicely. She doesn't like us very much. And then when she went and got her, because obviously with COVID restrictions, we were meeting in a car park and they were having to bring stuff out to you. And so she came out and put the cat carrier down and she said to me, what was it? Oh, yes. There you go, there's little angry Demeter. Which had just slipped out because that's what they'd all been calling her, little angry Demeter. And she looked mortified. She was like, no, actually, that's quite good. That fits her quite well, so we'll keep calling her that. Having said that, I woke up last night to find her cuddled up to me back, which is the friendliest she's been. She's getting slightly better the longer we have her. Anyway, back to the game. So, have you decided yet?
Yeah, I think I'm going to drop horse form.
Uh-huh.
Back to a bear. So thinking about it in terms of keeping somebody restrained. Actually, I mean, if I'm going to get him unconscious, I'm going to have to damage him, aren't I?
Pretty much, yes.
All right. Casting great. I'm going to have to drink me mage font for a start.
Okay.
They're charged up with 20, aren't they?
Yes. Your mage fonts are charged up with 20. So you're draining 20 energy points from the crystal.
Yeah.
You've put the crystal in the palm of your hand, put your other hand down on top of it, concentrate for a moment and drain all 20 points into yourself. Which, for those listening at home who say you don't need to do it that way, we know, but Kerj likes to do it that way.
Well, it's so I can get it under my shade. And I'm going to cast Great
I should
Beast Form.
change the background noise, because every time I hear a buzzing on this, I think it's that wasp's nest in our wall that they're coming out to deal with on Friday. Okay, so that would be a pretty good hit with 6 points of stunts. So what would you like to do?
I'm taking on the form of a tiger, and
Okay.
I will again disrupt magic, and the magic I want to disrupt is his connection to the valley.
Okay, so you're using 6 points of stunts. Right. Okay, Louise, you're not going to know this, but on your next roll, you get +1 because the Valley Master's connection to the valley has been loosened. Okay, so I will allow you to change yourself into the tiger by flipping your pog.
Yep.
I've already enlarged you, is that right? No, just
Embiggened.
Embiggened you. Yeah. I've made it bigger, ready for changing into a tiger. Moving over to Callum now. Now he's got a chance of getting loose of his bonds. So let me just take a look. Gonna try and slip them. So, looking wildly on various. Things to see if I can get anything.
Oh, there we go.
There we go. You were quite right. They all came up at once.
First one was a 7.
Yeah, that's happened to me before.
Right. Yeah. And OBS is just disconnected, and OBS is reconnected. Okay, so I suspect that might have been a problem with my interwebs there for a moment. So what was the first dexterity roll I rolled? 7. Right.
7.
Okay, so he's still trapped in the thing. So he's thrashing about madly trying to slip these bonds. He's still got his gag and he's like, which you're not entirely sure what he said, but he seems pretty angry.
Growls in tiger.
Okay, so it is. I'm going to go back over to Louise so I don't forget about that +1 I gave them. So,
Yep.
Louise, could you do your next roll on the
Yes.
ritual?
Unlucky for some.
Yes, indeed, but not for you. So, continuing the ritual, you stumble over a line or two here or there, but manage to correct yourself without breaking the ritual. That's another 1 point in the thing, and you can feel the bonds to the master getting weaker and weaker and weaker. It's almost like he's been, if you imagine a bread bun that you've got your hands on each side and you're just pulling it apart, so it's getting it's just like that. It hasn't come apart yet, but it's stretching out and it's beginning to bits of it are beginning to snap. It's getting weaker and weaker. So a bit of a tortured metaphor for you there, but never mind. Back to you guys, and it's Alderan to go.
Shoot the hoot.
Okay.
Hootsman.
To do his regeneration last round, actually, so I'm just going to take that in first. And you have... Ooh, that might be a miss. Let me just take a look. That is a hit, but just... Not that matters, so that's a hit with 1 point of stunts.
1 point of stunts. Right, okay. Damage is that.
Right you are. That would be...
And it's knocked prone and knocked back 2 yards.
Okay, so this time it's not going to be able to reach you if it comes... Well, it is going to be able to reach you if it comes after you, but it's not going to have an action left when it gets there.
So I'm moving away again, another 17 at that point.
So you have largely escaped it then, and it has been dealt with another 17 points of damage. So, oh, bloody hell, right. So it's kind of dragging itself off into the woods at the moment because it's in a lot of danger there. Extremely badly injured. Realises it can't catch up to you, so it's dragged itself off into the woods for a bit to hide. And Kerj, you to go.
Right, I'm now going to start putting a major hurt on this guy.
Okay.
This is where we go. Tiger, burning bright.
Oh, yeah.
Have a hefty smite.
Thought you were going to say something else there. Right, so I'm on a +6 for a claw attack, +1 for the fact that he's prone.
That's correct, yes.
Does the fact that he's bound also add to it?
Yes, +1.
Okay, so that's +8 for these 2 attacks.
Okay. That's a bit of a hit.
Yeah.
And that's another bit of a hit.
Mm-hmm. No stunts on either of those, though.
No stunts on either of them.
That's a shame. Right.
It's a shame, he says.
1d6 +5 for the first one, and for the second.
So the first one did 9, and the second one also did 9. Okay, so that's that would have been 18 between the two hits. If I apply his armor twice, that's 10 comes off. That's 8 gets through. Okay, you've pulled ahead of the curve a little bit at least.
Mm-hmm.
Because he regenerates less. Oops, a daisy. Didn't mean to do that. Oh, that's 52 he's down to. Okay, so you claw at him and he kind of jumps back, twists his ankle as he goes, and then you bat him upside the head as he's going down. So he's struggling a bit, but he's kind of just this look of rage in his face. And you're aware you're struggling to keep his hit points down as well. So let's see if he manages to slip these bonds again this time. Dexterity. Nope, he's still bound. So nothing else he can do really except run away. So that's what he's going to do. He's going to run back the way you came.
How's he going to run with his ankles tied together?
He's going to hop back away the way you came. So he's not going to get very far trying to out-hop a tiger's running at him, I suppose. But he's going to sort of dodge sideways into the trees and hope you can't spot him, hide behind a tree. So that's both of your opponents currently hiding. I'll go back round and do another round of this, because we're kind of a... otherwise, Nicholas Marty's doing the ritual at an incredible rate. So it is Alderan to go next, and the Nut and Owl there has hidden. Attempted to hide, at least. Let me just see. So if you wanted to see it, you'd have to be 12 with your perception.
Really?
Yeah.
Perception seeing.
Perception seeing, yeah, I'm pretty sure. Actually, because it's in a wood, it'll get +3, so 15 you need to beat, but you've rolled 20, so you can see it.
And I would presume it was be bleeding and crashing through the trees rather than... It's like there's this sapling in the owlbear's tending to hide. Like,
no, it's attempting to hide in the depth of the trees by kind of running into the weaving in and out of them in the hopes that you can't get a clear shot.
I'm going to shoot at it as we go.
So it's -3 to hit him this round, but that's a miss actually. So you unleash a shot, goes thunk into one of the trees right next to its head, and it dashes sort of around it and zigzags in and out. Minor action?
Minor action was to move.
Right, oh yes, okay. Okay, so it's trying to get away from you now. And it's like that scene from Star Wars where Han Solo's chasing the stormtroopers and then suddenly the tables are turned and he comes running back. So this thing's now trying to get away from you and keep itself away from you long enough for its regeneration to kick in. And Kerj, it's you to go.
Right. Further damage on this guy. So he's now on his feet.
He's now on his feet. Yeah. He's going to have to try and headbutt you shortly at this rate.
But he's bound. So do I still get a +1 from being bound?
Yes, you do.
Okay. First claw attack.
Technically, it's a -1 to his defense, but it's 6 and 2 3s. Or in this case, it's a 2 and 2 6s.
Stun.
So
Lovely.
6 points of stunts and a hit.
Delightful. And for the second claw attack.
That's a hit, but with no stunts.
Right, for my 6 points of stunts. First thing, we're going to have a reduced cost lightning attack for 2.
Okay.
And we'll make it a lethal for 4.
Okay.
Because lethal is also reduced.
It is, yeah. Okay,
Right,
so roll the damage for the attacks that you've hit first, and then we'll roll the lightning attack.
Okay. So rolling the damage for the claw attack, which is going to be at 2d6 extra.
Yeah.
So 3d6 plus 5 for the first claw attack.
Yep. So that's quite a hefty hit. So that would be 14. Has got past his armor. Right, you are. And the second damage.
For the claw attack.
And that's 6, so only 1 point gets past his armor that time. Okay. So now the additional attack you got with the lightning attack.
Okay, so that's a 3d6 plus 5 for a bite.
Yep, that's a hit as well, and 2 points. So no, you don't get any stunts. For
No,
it,
it's been generated by stunts.
Yeah.
By itself, yeah. So 2d6 plus 4 damage.
That's right.
That's the bite.
8 more damage from the bite, so that's 5. 3 get through. Now you're getting somewhere. Now you're outpacing his ability to regenerate. So he's quite badly hurt now. It's him to go. So with his major action, he's going to try and slip his bounds again. And with his minor action, he's going to try and headbutt you.
Okay.
Not quite sure who on earth would think trying to headbutt a tiger was a good idea, but, you know.
Is he allowed to do that as a minor action?
No, actually, that would be a major action. So I'm just going to try and headbutt you because I'm not going to get... No, I'm not. I'm going to try and get... I'm going to try and get free because there's so much more I can do to you if I can get free. He can do to you, I should say. So it's dexterity. 10. Nope, he's still bound. He's having no luck getting these bounds off, although he's now up against a tree, like rubbing the binds against rough bark in the hope it'll fray the thing away. It's fraying a little bit, but it's not really coming apart. So, back to Nicholas Marty. Nicholas, you are pretty sure that you're about halfway through this ritual, possibly less. That gives you sort of a boost of vigour to get on with it, even though it's extremely tiring to perform this whole thing. Go ahead and make that roll again. That's intelligence, but I'm allowing you to add your performance.
Here's my suffering for my art roll.
Yes. And 15, that's another pass. All the nasty things that could have happened if you failed are just not going to manifest, it looks like. So you've reevaluated your notion. You don't think that it's going to be as long to finish this ritual as you thought it was. You can feel it unwinding every few minutes. The bind to the master's almost gone now. You're pretty close to there, you think. So, back to the others, and it's Aldrin to go. What would you like to do? 19's a hit. 13. Let's see what it's got left. Okay. How would you like to extinguish this creature's consciousness?
You mean take it out of action? Or
Indeed. You can kill it, or you can...
I'm just going to put an arrow straight through it from behind, and it goes through its heart.
Right you are. You shoot the thing straight through the back. The arrow hits it in the heart, and it topples forwards. It hoots a couple of times, each time a little bit less loud, a little bit less coherent than before, and then it just lies still with blood oozing out of all of its wounds and out of its beak. It's gone. You've destroyed it.
It's not going to regenerate, get back up, or anything like that.
You've never seen the animals continue to regenerate after death, only before death. So you're pretty sure you're okay in that regard.
Well, in that case, I'm going to attempt to recover arrows.
Okay, make a roll. See how many you recover.
How many? What sort of? I think I fired about 6 there.
Okay, D6 then.
That's not good.
Okay, so most of them you've lost in the trees one way or another, or they've been broken as the owlbear sort of thundered through the trees and snapped them
Yeah,
off.
it's
where
the
it was.
shafts that are important, not the
Yeah,
heads.
That's right, yeah. So you
Right,
only recover
okay.
one of those, so you're 5 arrows down. However, you've now managed to deal with the owl bear, which means you can go give Kerj help trying to re-subdue your captive if you want.
Yeah, well, that's where I would be heading
Okie dokie.
as fast as I can. So it may take me two rounds, 3 rounds to get there. I don't know.
Yeah, about 3 rounds. That was about how many rounds you ran in the opposite direction.
But only sort of at a third pace.
Yeah, so
If you realise they chased the
and
bear.
you've come the back a ways as well. I'm going to say a combat round that Kerj will have to fight before you get there. So,
Right.
Kerj, what would you like to do?
More damage.
There you are.
Silly question.
Brutalising your former friend here.
She's going to lick him with his rough tongue. Take some bark off.
My old friend glomps to death.
This is for your own good. Stop resisting my help.
You are being rescued. Please do not resist.
Yes.
Okay, so they're both hits.
No stunts on either.
No
So
stunts.
first lot of damage, second lot of damage.
Okay, so you bat him round the head, and whilst he's trying to recover, you bat him round the head from the other side as well. So that's 3 gets through from the first hit, 3 gets through from the second hit. That's 6 I need to reduce him by in total. That's -6, and then it gets to his round. I forgot to do his regeneration last time, so I will do it this time. So that's 10 back on. Okay, so he's at 44, and frankly, if he doesn't manage to escape this time, he's just going to surrender.
Okay.
So let me have a look. Perception, dexterity. Fuck's sake. Right, he's had enough. He can't break these bonds. He's been attacked and mauled by a tiger. His not an owlbear has been killed. He just kind of slumps down. He just sits there and waits to be carted off out of the...
You could just drag him by the scruff of the neck.
Well, I was going to say, can I carry him in my mouth?
Yeah, you can. I mean, he's
I
going
think
to
that's
be bounced down that steep slope, shinning his knee all the way down.
good.
And okay, so you two have managed to get him down onto the valley floor. So you are. Let me go back to the valley map. I think I've just put you on the wrong map there. Yes, I have. I'll try that again.
That's better.
That's better, yep. And I will see if I can find where your...
The token needs to be over there.
There it is. Yep, that's the one. So yes, you're down there now. So, skipping back over to Louise, what would you, Nicholas Marty, like to do now? Continue the ritual, I'm assuming.
Yep.
Okay. So, continuing to sing up a storm, Nicholas Marty's on what he believes to be the last leg of the ritual. Go ahead and make that roll.
Gosh, I hope so. Please be another good one. Wow.
That's a good one, all right. So, pop that in
I'm the greatest musician ever.
there. With a sudden sort of sensation of that bread roll finally separating, it's time to butter it, it would seem, because you can feel that you've unravelled the skull from the maker completely. You just have that one twinge, that one last twinge that perhaps you should make yourself the master. So go ahead and make a willpower test for me, please. Remembering that you did spend stunt points at the start of the ritual to gain yourself a bonus
Yes.
whenever making this sort of thing. So go ahead and try.
It's a +1 to this.
+1 to that.
I mean, I suppose, you know, if I did become master, it would mean that nobody worse would come along.
Well, exactly, yeah. Oh dear.
There we go. Oh. finally I make a bad roll. Oh no.
Yeah, so that's 8, and with the +1, that's 9 against a target of 11. So that's exactly what Nicholas Marty's thinking at the moment. Maybe I should just become the master and then nobody worse. I mean, I could always keep control of this thing. Look at how successful I've been at this ritual. I'm really quite powerful. I know what I'm doing. The valley can't corrupt me. And you begin the next stage of the ritual, the stage of the ritual that's designed to bind you to the, or rather to bind the valley to you so that you become the new master.
Oh no.
And skipping over to the rest of the party, you can move up to 3 squares on that map. So which
Up to 3 squares.
Yup.
So why can't we go to the west?
Yeah, well, you can go to the west. It's just if you wanted to head over to meet Melosa at the Skull, which was your initial suggestion, you'd need to move north. But if you just want to leave the valley and head west,
The Skull?
you can
No.
do that.
The plan was to leave the valley.
Yeah, the
Yeah,
valley mouth, but she's likely to... you didn't give her a specific tree, so she's likely to pick one near her skull, which is at the valley mouth. But if you just want to head west from here, you can do. You can leave. That's not a problem.
Okay.
So I thought she was going to be following us, sort of going from tree to tree.
No, she just went from one tree straight over to whichever of the tree she had stepped out of.
Was your
Right.
cult, Kerj, at this
She
point?
might not need to be escorted out. Bear in mind, you convinced her to leave. It might be a case if she's standing there for an hour or whatever, she might go, right, I've been stood up, sod it, I'm off to McDonald's, right? I'm off to, or in this case, Fannon's trading post.
Right.
Okay. I would suggest not for a cheeseburger, obviously.
We're right at the border of the valley.
Yes.
Let's get him out. There's nothing stopping us coming back in to get her.
Nothing at all. No.
Once he's out, his power base is gone. The pull on him should hopefully be gone, and he should be back to himself.
Well, that's the plan.
Yeah.
That is indeed the plan. So you take him out of the valley and head as far away from it as you feel is going to be required to reduce the pull. So about how far would you like to go?
A mile? What do you think?
Yeah?
I don't know. Yeah, maybe. Whatever.
Okay.
See what happens.
So you head
Do I have
go on.
Do I have any arcane insight into the effective area of this kind of spell or this kind of magic?
Well, nobody's really come across this sort of thing before, but I'm still going to
No.
allow you an arcane lore roll to see if you can figure it out.
Okay.
Do we notice as we're pulling him out of the valley, do we notice any effect on him?
Well, he's lost consciousness again, if that's any help. And it had nothing to do with whatever you did.
Okay.
Yes. As a player, I think I know what's going on, but Kerj wouldn't have a clue.
No, he doesn't. With that roll, he's not quite clear. But what you do notice is that his regeneration stops about 500 meters tops outside of the valley is when you notice it, that his wounds are no longer healing of their own accord.
Right. Yes. Okay.
Okay.
Does rather suggest either he's out of the sphere of influence or Nicholas Marty successfully powered down the valley, for want of a better term.
Yes.
Speaking of Nicholas, what would you like to do?
I don't know.
Sing and dance.
Yeah, I mean that's probably about it. Yeah.
Oh yes, of course, you failed that last roll, didn't you? So yeah, you're going to have to make an attempt on the...
hang on.
Yeah.
Did that last roll take into account the disrupt magic stunt that I performed?
No, but I'm trying to think if that would have
That would
been
have been
too
a
long
fair
ahead.
while ago.
Yeah, it would have been. Would have been.
Okay.
So yeah, unfortunately, Nicholas has fallen for the power of the thing. So Nicholas, start making those rolls again for the ritual, and you could really do with failing them this time, because
Oh,
anytime
man.
you fail one, you get a chance to come to your senses.
Yeah.
Can Tamara make a perception test?
Yeah.
Yeah,
See if she
Tamara can
realises
make a
what's going
perception
on.
test with a penalty. All right.
I'll roll it.
Yeah, here's Nicholas's roll anyway, which is not a fail.
You're right, it's not, but you've only added one to the pool, so you've started to bind the valley to
Fair enough.
yourself. Tamara, right, you're a little bit suspicious, but you're really not quite sure, because you don't understand the language that Nicholas Marty's singing in anyway. So at this moment, she's just kind of, what's going on here? Could I have a communications deception roll from Nicholas Marty, please?
I don't have deception, I have persuasion.
That'll do. 16. Okay.
Oof.
Yeah. So, at the moment, Tamara's like, what's going on here? And Nicholas is like, it's fine. This is just the last piece of the ritual to do what we came to do. Don't worry about it. And then Tamara's like, oh, okay. Meanwhile, those of you who are taking Callum out of the valley, his regeneration stopped. He's currently still unconscious. What would you like to do?
That's where we get smelling salts and waft them under his nose.
Okay. You get the smell of the smells and waft him under his nose. He starts to come round, a bit bleary-eyed. What happened? Where am I? What's the... oh, it's you! You two attacked me.
Do you know where you are?
He kind of looks around and starts to panic. You've brought me out of the valley. What have you done that for?
Because
valley
it corrupted
needs
you.
me. No, the valley didn't corrupt me. The valley is home. The
Evil.
valley is peaceful. The valley is
Evil.
everything that nature should be. It's
Evil.
No, it's just protecting itself from the evil of humanity and their allies and goblins and orcs and well, maybe not elves so much, gnomes and halflings and all of these creatures that don't live in
It's evil.
unity with nature. No, it's not evil. It's not evil. We need to expand its power to reclaim the planet from the perversions of the unnatural races.
Oh my god, he's an eco-fash!
Yes. Okay.
And,
yeah, go ahead.
I said, did Druids swear any oaths?
Not really, no.
No. But they live in harmony with nature, not
Yes.
to pervert nature.
That's right, yes.
So the valley is against the natural order because it suppresses that which is natural.
The valley is the natural order. That's what we've all forgotten. We've forgotten how the natural order is meant to be. Only the valley reminds us. We
So
need to...
possessed animals that attack people, that's natural, is it? Giant mosquitoes, that's natural, is it?
Nature is red in tooth and claw. It's just its attempt to defend itself from the destructive powers of the other races, the animal races, the... Kerj, you understand, you're a fae. You know that what's happened to this world is distorted nature and that the valley is the true way.
Dropping tiger form.
Yes.
Callum,
The
never in
valley's
all my
great.
years.
Sorry. Yep.
What?
The valley's great. No, sorry, go ahead.
Never in all my years as a druid have I seen nature more perverse than I have
Than it is
in
today,
this
I-
valley.
No.
No, in the valley.
Okay, make a persuasion roll. Okay. I'm against his. I shouldn't have closed that really, should I? So the.
Seeing animals possessed and burning with green fire is not the natural order. As Aldrin quite rightly says, giant mosquitoes being controlled and
Skinwalker.
and sent against people. This is nature being used
Shit is
and
full.
abused. How many creatures have died because of the will of the valley?
Okay, he winces slightly at that bit when you say that. You see the first signs of doubt start to show in his eyes. However, you also become aware of the fact that it's still just a sliver of doubt. To actually convince him that the valley's evil is going to take a long time. I mean, if you've ever been involved in
Deprogramming.
yes, exactly, you're going to have to deprogram, or it could
Yep.
take you weeks.
Answer me this, Callum. Where are the birds?
It looks as if that's occurring to him for the first time. He's like genuinely not thought of it.
Anything that could get out, got out. Where are the fish in the river? They don't want to be there. The things that could leave, leave. And the things that couldn't were forced to stay.
But the valley is the way.
The wrong way.
No, that can't be true. The voice has told me this was the way.
And where else in nature have you heard such voices? Where is it the natural way?
Everywhere
To
you
hear
the voices
voices.
of the world on the wind, and in the rustling of the grass and the rustling of the tree leaves and the...
And are those the kind of voices that you're talking about in the valley?
Okay, make another persuasion roll. And,
Oh, hang on. That's the Valley Huntsman.
that's
Where's he
shit, I
come
rolled
from?
the wrong guy. Yeah, sorry, rolled the wrong guy. It's because he's not even on the next line, so I don't know how I managed it. Let me try that again then. Yeah, not as good. Still better than Kerj got this time. Right?
Mm-hmm.
Voices take many forms. This is just the valley is the only place that it's given the kind of voice that we would recognise as a voice, having grown up amongst humans and other species. This kind of says dismissively. However, you do think it kind of...
So, hang on.
Mhm.
Taking that in mind, the perverted voices of the races you've decried, this particular place in the world speaks with the same voice. It speaks with a voice of perversion.
Okay, that might be that might be something that strikes home a little bit. So give that another go. So that's 15. Let me just see now. Come on.
And I'll take Sway the Crowd.
If you've passed,
Oh, yeah, sure.
which you didn't, unfortunately.
Bugger.
Yeah. Okay, so he's starting to kind of swing back towards the valley. The doubts he had earlier, you can see the doubts in his mind beginning to burn away. You just don't understand. The only way is to cleanse the world, to sweep these other races away and allow nature to regenerate itself. Don't you understand?
Those races are part of nature.
Those races have turned against nature. They've turned
where have they
against
come
their
from?
natural way.
Where have they come from?
Well, they have come from the world, but they have forgotten the face of their father. They've forgotten the world. Go make
They're meant
another.
to be reminded.
Make another roll.
2 seconds.
Yeah, no problem. Okay, I'm not going to make that a contest. No, I am, but I'm not going to give him his self-discipline because he's starting to doubt.
I can give you some more roleplay to go with it.
Yeah, go for it.
If a tree grows in a shape that displeases you, does that mean every tree must be hacked down and burned away?
Of course not. But
No.
if every tree grows in a way that is warped and turns away from the sun, then action must be taken. Although you can see he's
Nature is self-balancing. If those trees grew in such a way that turns from the sun, they would naturally die.
make another roll at this point, and I'm going to go over to just a target number from now on, I think. Okay, I had it in mind, and that's a pass. Okay. He sort of half-heartedly retorts with, but nature might be self-balancing, but the races, the civilized races, are no longer part of nature. They've turned away from that. How do you convince them to turn back?
Druids.
By example, not by
That is
murder.
what we do. We are shepherds of the forest, and we show the way.
Okay,
We do not.
go on, sorry.
I'm going to appeal to his absolute sort of most basic teachings.
Okay,
We
both of you
nurture
can
and we
make,
live in balance.
both of you can make a roll this time. Pick the best one.
Was this for persuasion?
Yes, it is. Aye.
Unless I roll a 666, it ain't going to be any good.
Okay. Right. So, actually, there's a narrow pass. The target's 13. So, and that's 6 in the stone. So here's 4. Okay, you can see him starting to doubt. There's just enough doubt there in your eyes that you think it's going to take some time, but at least you have created enough doubt that it's. You don't know whether it's just that on its own or whether it's what Nicholas has been doing, but it's severed his sort of bond to the valley. It's almost as if he's thinking to himself that, like, you're right, there's something about that valley that you could feel it pushing into your mind, these greasy fingers, these strange dark thoughts. The valley itself is still
Corruption does exist, and corruption is pervasive and invasive, and that valley is where it exists.
Speaking of invasive corruption, time to see how Nicholas is getting on resisting it. Go ahead and make a ritual.
So, Nick Chaos, did you say?
Yeah. So it's now, actually, it's probably more a case of I'll make rolls for the previous. Okay, so you're trying to wrestle control. Well, actually, no, Callum's already lost control, so there's no point in rolling him. So the target's okay. Yeah. So actually, you've come to your senses a bit there, Louise. You're Nicholas, as he's completing the ritual, just has a sudden flash of realization that it wasn't your thought to take control. Again, that thought originated somewhere else. There's still something in this valley trying to convince you to take control. Realizing that the longer you're inside this skull, the more likely you are to fall for it. You just want to get out. You just want to leave. You know you've broken its connection to the current master. You're worried that if you stay here much longer, it will take control of you. What would you like to do?
Well, I think it's a good idea to tell Tamara that and leave.
Right, you
And
are.
actually, what I'm also going to do is I'm going to I know, like, can Koth understand me if I talk to him? I know he can't talk back to me, but if I tell him that we're moving and then send him back to Kerj?
Would that work?
What?
It might. You've never tried it before, so you don't know.
Actually,
Why?
why am I doing this? Why don't I just write it down and tie it around his leg?
Yes.
Good idea.
Yeah. Okay.
That's just what Tamara was about to say.
Yeah. Okay. So.
Bring it at the wheel here.
So you get out of the skull first. You get as far away from it as you feel comfortable with, and you start to write down. Where is it you're going to move to? Is the question next.
I think it makes sense to go to the next skull, actually, or at least head for it.
Okay. So the next skull would be
Let
the
me check.
shaping skull. Yeah, that's the one.
Yeah, I was going to say, wasn't that the one we were heading for originally, and then we got distracted by this one because we could
That's
see it again.
Absolutely correct. It is.
Yeah.
Yes. Okay. So you send that letter off to Kerj with tied to Quoth's legs. Kerj, you've made camp about 1 kilometre outside of the valley. You've spent the time trying to convince Callum of your way of thinking. There's still a lot of work to do to convince him that people don't just need to be rounded up and destroyed so that nature can take its natural course. But he does seem to have seen the valley for what it is, this perverse, corrupted thing, and he's now kind of rocking backwards and forwards and holding his head, like all the things that happened, all the things that were done in the shaping skull.
What was done?
Okay, at this point, I'm just going to step out of play for a second, because to describe what was done would break one of the things we agreed on at the start. So let's just say horrific things were done.
Right, okay, yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, okay. So at the end you are horrified by what the thought that a druid would do these things to animals or permit them to be done is it's boiling your blood, it's making you angry. To the point that like you're actually fighting back an urge to just kill them for it. That's how angry it's made you.
Wow, okay. I'm going to get up and walk away.
Okay.
Well, I'm still going to keep an eye on him.
Right.
Yeah.
Do you want me to make a willpower test at this point? The control of my better nature.
If you feel that's appropriate, then yes.
So I managed to maintain my cool at this point.
Okay. You managed to maintain your cool primarily because you think this man's also been the victim of this evil power that lies under the valley. And this were not things that he did. In fact, it becomes apparent as he's talking, there weren't things that he did, there were things that he didn't stop the valley hunter from doing. And it suddenly occurs to you, just as Quoth flies back and alights on Kerj's arm. Kerj, you're still very distressed at the moment, but you see there's a letter on on Quoth's legs. So you unravel it, and just as Alderin's realizing that these terrible things that happened were actually done by the Valley Hunter, and this guy's just not stopped them, he's kind of permitted them, but they were done at the Shaping Skull, which actually appears to be the centre of the evil in the valley.
Right.
You get a letter from the other two to say that they're on their way to the Shaping Skull.
Oh.
Right. So in that case, did we have the chance to take a breather while all this is going on?
I would say yes, it did. Yeah.
So I would up my hit points again.
Yes, so that's your level plus your Constitution
plus 5.
+5.
Yeah, which
I'm not
makes me a little bit more
but
healthy.
I don't think Kerj took any damage in that.
I had damage from the battle back at the Skull of Fortune.
Right, okay. So
Which I've gradually been having breathers and paying it off.
Right.
Right, you can only have one breather for that amount of damage.
I'll take that back off then.
But you could have had somebody take a look at your wounds, so Alderin could make an intelligence an intelligence roll, adding first aid if he has it. That's more than enough. So you get back Aldrin's intelligence, which is 1, plus the result of the stunt dice, which is 6, plus your constitution. So it's 7 plus your constitution you're getting back.
Okay.
And
I could do
actually,
some first aid.
So that's 7 then.
That's
Yeah.
7 then, yeah. Also,
Yeah.
I noticed Aldrin got 6 points of stunts, so you can do something with those if you would like to. And Aldrin also needs first aid, so you're going to have to roll for him.
Okay, will do. Right, first aid for Alderaan.
That'll puts me back up to full health.
Excellent.
Owlbears, indeed. Or not owlbears.
Okay.
I thought it must have. I think it was the first double strike that did the real damage on that
Yeah,
one.
probably. Yeah.
For a minute. 6 stunt points, you said there for.
Yes.
Is that, are we allowed to use that to show kindness to what's his face, Callum?
Yes, you can do. Aye.
Yeah,
That would further weaken his.
give him a bit more reassurance and also bind his wounds.
Okay. You start binding his wounds, given that they're no longer regenerating, because he's no longer bound to the valley. He's no longer the valley master.
Is he looking better than he did? Because he was kind of tree-like and.
He was, and there is make a perception seeing roll, or if somebody has the surgery talent, they can make a intelligence first aid roll to. Well, you've gained a 19. That's enough. Yeah, there's definitely the sort of greeny brown discoloration of his body is starting to soften. So the body itself's no longer as bark-like as it was. It's not as tough. The colorization's starting to turn back to the more human skin tone that he had before, which would be a. I'm trying to remember. He is not Sul, so it's going to be a sort of browny coloration, sort of. Equivalent to Central Asian here would be the kind of colour he should be. He's currently still not, but he's getting back towards that.
Okay.
I'm going to return from my little constitutional walk, having had time to think.
Yeah.
And I've picked something up in the woods.
Right? Yeah.
If you're in agreement. And I hand him a seed.
Right.
As from our very first lessons as druids. Plant this in the ground. Let nature show you the way. Grow this as we were taught.
Okay. He's at this point, there's like tears streaming down his face as he realises all the terrible things he's either done or allowed to be done. And the fact that you are at least on the path of, if not forgiving him, then at least sort of moving him towards redemption. So there's tears streaming down his throat. He's kind of holding the seed carefully in his arms, and something suddenly occurs because he suddenly grabs your hand. At first you think, like your wrist, at first you think it's an attack, and then looking at his, like drawing your fist back to hit him and looking at his face, you see his eyes have gone wide, and he says, how long was I unconscious? 6 hours. The hunter will regenerate in 6 hours.
And what will he do?
Without a master of the valley?
Yes.
It could be anything. He might even try and become the master himself, for all I know.
It's too much of a risk for you to go back in there.
You can see this war on his face as part of his psyche is trying to pull him back, and the other part is trying to get him as far away from it as possible.
I'm going to tell him that I'm growing a small orchard back at Fannon's.
Right.
I want you to go there and I want you to tend those trees.
He kind of nods.
Convalesce.
You remember he always loved apple trees in his youth. He kind of nods and agrees to do so. He stands up and kind of shuffles away, still holding the seed as carefully as possible. You watch as he works his way down towards the lower lands, towards the main river, over towards Fannon's. He's still got like a couple of days' walk, but at least he's getting further and further away from the valley. How long do you want to leave it before you take your eyes off?
Quoth.
Quoth, of course, yes.
Watch him.
It's a
That's
good
what
idea.
I would say.
That's a
And
good
then
idea.
if he turns back, come tell us. Because obviously...
The only thing is, well, yeah, Quoth can go and do that. I can get to the others in bird form and stop them getting to the shaping skull. Or
yeah.
at the very least accompany them and reinforce them.
Well, tell you what, you guys will have a quick chat about that while I dash to the bathroom briefly. I'll leave your vocals out to the recording. Go ahead and make plans for the next little bit.
Yeah, I mean, how else are we going to make sure that he doesn't actually turn back? I mean,
Well,
it's...
the thing is, can Quoth really stop him from turning back? He can
I'm
keep
not
an eye
saying
on
stop
him.
him from turning back. I
Yeah.
said keep him.
Stop him, but he can let you know that he has.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking.
Will give us a warning.
Give us a warning that he's come back, because he may attempt to go to the Skull of Fortune and reassert the thing. And if that happens, then we've got deep trouble on both sides.
At the very least, if Quoth's with him as part of the natural world, then he might sort of act as a bit of sort of moral support, a bit of reinforcement. Just sort of give him a quick peck in the temple if he starts looking suspicious.
Or fly at him and try and turn him back if he decides to turn around.
I also need to nip away for a second, but I'll be back in a sec.
Right, because this is where it gets dangerous. I mean, I've got no problem with making my way back through the terrain on my own.
Right.
Up to the Skull of Fortune and then past it. I would suggest that at some point, somewhere up the valley there, we're going to have to go through those trees and climb to that skull somehow. Skull of Reaping, I don't think we can go there because it'll be overrun with animals.
That seemed to be the base for the hunter.
Yeah.
Or huntsman.
Or if he's made his way to the Shaping Skull. But he was in ghost form. I can't really hurt him. But I can take down the other things. I'm down to 59 arrows.
I can only hunt him. I can only hurt him if I get stunts. If I'm in animal form.
Tomorrow's got the sword though.
Yeah, and well, if I'm in my standard default form, I can arcane blast him.
Yeah.
Okay. So Quoth's keeping an eye on Callum as he recedes and heads further and deeper down into the lower lands, the foothills at the bottom of the mountains, and heads off in that direction.
Although I was going to say the actual idea of uncorrupted nature around him and seeing the birds, the bees, the whole of that sort of thing, maybe that reconnection and the opening of his eyes to how beautiful the world is when it's not controlled might have some influence on him.
It might very well, yeah. That's certainly your hope, anyway. So, what are the rest of you going to do?
So, getting back, I'm going to retrace my steps back to the Skull of Fortune then.
Okay.
I don't know if Kerj has enough magic power to transform himself into a bird, bat, eagle, osprey.
I can manage one more transformation. Yes. Right. Pretty certain. Hang on.
Okay.
Right. Well, you can
Didn't
attempt
take
one more.
Didn't you just take some points out of the mage fund anyway?
I did, and I immediately used it to take greater beast form. I've got enough left for one lesser beast form transformation, and that will be me completely spent.
Yikes.
Because I would
Yep.
suggest then that we basically, I don't know what time of day it is, but a camp for the night.
You don't think getting back over there is like of the essence?
Well, the thing is, if you've got no magic, what else can you do?
I can still arcane blast.
Yeah, well, there is that. But then you
And
can't.
the Valley Huntsman doesn't know that I don't have any magic points left.
True.
If you can wrest control of whichever skull he regenerates in, back from.
That'll be the Reaping Skull. That's where I saw him when I did the recon.
You did see him in the Reaping Skull.
Oh, yeah.
When you did the recon. Yeah.
That's where
And I
his
think-
their skins.
I think his skin from when he was human will be in there, and that's the basis of his power. Yeah.
So what do we do? Do we go? So we're on this side of the valley. The other half.
If he's now the major threat, we know from the note that Nicholas and Tamara are heading to the Shaping Skull.
Yeah.
We know from what Callum said that the Valley Master will now, the Valley Huntsman will now be regenerated. Yeah.
No, it takes 6 hours. It hasn't been 6 hours.
Oh right. I thought you said it had been 6 hours.
No, he was asking because remember he was unconscious several times. So
Right.
it only
Yeah,
took
it took
you.
us-
Yeah, sorry. Go ahead, Sean.
I was going to say, it only took us half an hour or so to get down the edge of the valley. It wasn't because we moved fast, or
Yeah,
45 minutes or
Okay.
an hour.
Okay.
I would presume the action in the Skull of Fortune took, 15 minutes at the time when we knocked him off the cliff?
Less. There's 15 seconds in a combat round. It went for a total of, I think maybe 10 or 15 combat rounds in total. So even if we say 20, that was still only 5 minutes.
So still only 5 minutes, right? And so let's say it took us 45 minutes to get down. So we've only been, and we've been speaking to Callum and what have you. Let's say it's been an hour in total.
Yeah.
Hour and a half at best.
Yeah.
Yeah. Still gives us 4.5 hours.
Yeah.
Is it possible to get across the map in that time to wherever? I don't think so.
Is it possible to rest and regain any magic points in that time?
No. If you rest to regain magic points, it will definitely give him time to his spirit time to reform. If you try and race across the valley, let me just have a look. You'll be going through the woods, so it's going to be the slower end of it. I just need to zoom out a little bit more, so I've got the start and the end point there. Move down to this. So a direct run across would be 550 meters. And that would be going straight through the middle of the Oxbow Lakes, straight across the river. So you probably, by the time you take a more circuitous route that will actually be less time, will be about 700 meters, which you could cover in about the same time because some of the terrain would be easier. So you're talking about, call it a kilometre by the time you've gone up cliffs and down slopes. It's then you're talking about an hour and a half.
And if I take bird form?
Oh, 700 metres to a bird's not going to take very long. You would go, 12. What's the speed on a bird?
Is that what is that an African or a European?
I don't know that.
Ah,
One iceberg cannot carry a £1 coconut.
yeah. Don't know.
If I take hawk form, then I've got a speed of 20.
Okay, which would allow you to do 60 meters around. So you could fly 60, 120, 240, 240 meters a minute. That sounds a lot.
Take you about 3 minutes to get there, then.
Yeah, about
From here.
What time of day is it?
that. It is currently, let's see, you set off from there. We're probably talking about 4 or 5 in the afternoon.
Right, so it's not as though it's getting dark.
No, because we're still in summer, so you've got
Right.
till about 9 o'clock tonight before the sun goes down.
What I have noticed is under the hawk entry, it says owls also have similar stats.
All right, okay.
So I don't know if that means that owl is also one of the options.
It will be, yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's probably one of us is possessed by now.
Yeah.
Hoo hoo.
It's you.
It's like that joke about the two guys out in the woods, and one's drifted off to sleep, and the other one hears this strange noise in the night, and he wakes his friend up and says, "What's that? What's that?" He hears it again. His friend goes, "Oh, it's just an owl." He says, "I know it was an owl, but who owled?"
Oh.
So,
We thought our jokes were bad, you know. So. It's our job to tell the bad jokes, not yours, Brian. Come on.
fair enough. Yeah. Okay, I'll stay in my lane then.
So I can get over to the Reaping Skull and I can start to investigate it while the Valley Huntsman is definitely
dead. Yes.
Yes. I'm sorely tempted that if I can get over there and wrest control of that skull in the same way as we've seen elsewhere, then that might prevent him from recorporealizing.
Prior to that, right? Yeah. We write a note, we tie it to your leg, and you fly up to the others.
And drop it off, yeah.
And drop it off on the way.
Reasonable,
right?
yes.
Because you'll not be able to communicate with them otherwise.
True.
Let's say, meanwhile, I'll make my way back. Do you want us to wait for you?
I
mean, no, sorry. Do they want me to wait for them? No, other way round. Do I want them to wait for me, or should I head north and talk to Melissa or whatever her name is?
Right now, we've got control.
And then head up to the Reaping Skull.
We've got control of 3 out of the 5 skulls. Yes.
No,
nobody has control of 3 out of the 5 skulls.
we've got Skull of Fear.
Yeah.
Skull of Fortune is not controlled, and the Skull of Seeing, don't know who controls that.
Yes. Well, that was what Melissa was living in, so you can only assume.
Yeah. But I was assuming that was one of the 3 that we controlled.
Yeah. Well, there's a difference between you controlling them and them being not controlled.
Yes.
So, had, for example, Nicholas Marty gained control of the Skull of Fortune, that would have moved Nicholas Marty one bit closer towards becoming the Valley Master.
Ah.
So if you actually gain control of skulls, you start to be corrupted by the Valley. Because you didn't know that when you took control of the Skull of Fear, so there's already that little kernel of corruption, which is why the other skulls are able to try and make attacks to draw you in to become the Master. So remember that the Skull of Fear didn't do anything to try and convince you, because it couldn't yet. There wasn't that kernel of corruption for it to grab onto. It was just fortunate in that without knowing, you guys took control of it. That allowed it to plant that first seed in you, so that the next skull you tried just had something to latch onto and try and go, Ah, but you want to become the master. So the more skulls you gain control of, the weaker you become at resisting the power of the valley.
Whoops.
But you can just do the first ritual, which just removes the control from.
Whoever has it.
Yes.
So it's now floating free.
Yeah.
So
Right.
King Mosquito in the middle of the valley now becomes Valley Master.
Yeah. Because right now, although Callum's currently not got full control of the valley, there's still 2 skulls that technically he controls, so it could always draw him back.
Okay, let's. Okay, I'll head up to the rest of the group. I'll drop off that note
Okay.
saying what it is that I'm doing. And what I'm doing is I'm going to head to the Reaping Skull to free up control of it, but not take control of it.
Yeah.
Right.
And to find a way, if possible, to work out how the Valley Huntsman keeps reincarnating and to prevent him from doing so.
Right, okay.
Are we then going to head to the Shaping Skull at this point?
Yes.
The rest of us, once I actually catch up to them.
So what I'm going to do is I'm going to drop Quoth on the thing, and we're going to call that Kerj in bird form.
Well, I need to cast that.
Right, okay, I can always take it back off again. It could
Yeah.
all go horribly wrong if you fail to cast this, of course.
Indeed, yes.
Right, so the note says to wait for Alderaan, does it? And you're going to do what you're doing.
Let's actually write out the note so
Right.
we know what's in it.
Okay, go ahead and write out the note. Yeah. So currently we've got.
So I'm heading to the Reaping Skull to remove control of it and to find a way to deal with the Valley Huntsman. Better tell them that. Also tell them that I'm out of magic. And then we're going to meet up at the Shaping Skull.
Okay.
Is there anything else we're going to say other than that?
Anybody?
Yeah, I'm typing.
Ah, right, okay. Now you've told us that, I can hear it.
Out of control.
Please don't include an out of office reply at the end.
So what are we doing? I'm working my way back to them, and then are we waiting for you before tackling the Shaping Skull, or are we moving on to the Shaping Skull?
I will meet you at the Shaping Skull. Just try to deal with it as best you can. Remove control of it. Don't take control of it.
Okay.
Okay, so whilst all that's been happening, Louise, could you move the counter that represents you and Tamara? Literally just typed their name and forgotten it. If you could move that one 4 squares, that'll be about the distance you'll have travelled in all the time they've been away doing other stuff.
4. Well, you're just in the trees there then.
Right, you are. Okay, so you're working your way through those trees at the moment, listening out for any further ambushes.
Looking out for any traps.
And looking out for any traps as well. Yeah.
And remember,
Tamara-
Tamara's still got a helmet on.
I was going to say, Tamara's probably looking out for traps, given that I keep almost falling into them.
Well, there's one way of finding them.
Tie a rope around Nicholas Marty.
Please do not inhale the world's best bard.
Okay.
Meanwhile, I'm going to attempt to move as fast as possible up the valley back along the path I came down.
Okay. So, what's your... Oh, that's an interesting way of spelling that. What's your movement?
My movement's 17. I'm almost twice as fast as Tamara.
Okay, so go ahead and move 2 at the moment then, because you'll be starting to catch up because you move so fast, but they started moving before you did.
I take it Kerj is going to... has Kerj made the roll yet?
Not yet. Just making sure that I didn't need to speak any further before I rob myself of that.
Yeah. Again, that's still an interesting way of spelling letter.
Passed.
You passed, okay. Let me see if I can spell letter right on the third go. Apparently not.
Letter. Yeah.
I know, it's just... It's quite small. My glasses need upgrading, and I can't tell which letters I've typed and which ones I haven't, because I cocked it up the first time, and it's just been going badly ever since. Right, okay, so you should all have the ability to see Kerj's letter. Oh, do you know what? I haven't typed the text into it. Cut and paste the text into it, so you can see a blank letter.
It's written in invisible ink.
Written in invisible ink, yes.
Only seeable by elves.
Yeah. I'll leave the spelling mistake you made in. And there you go. Now you should be able to see it. Right. So I will close that down. And Kerj, you've managed to change yourself into bird form. So you kind of, from bear man form, you kind of shrink down into the form of a hawk and then take off across the valley. So you're moving at
20.
20, so it's about 1.5 times the speed of our elven friend. So move yourself 3 squares.
I don't have control of the bird token.
You don't have control of the bird token. That might make it a bit difficult then. Yeah, you should have now.
1.5 squares, did you say?
No, you're moving 1.5 times the speed of the elf, so you're moving 3 squares.
About there?
Yep, that'll do nicely. Okay, so each time... that's interesting.
It is.
That's the elven version.
Alright, okay.
So, but of course, this chat doesn't have the script.
It doesn't have elven script.
Oh, right.
I thought there was some box going on. I was so confused.
Okay, so now it's a case of figuring out who gets to which objective first. So...
I mean, that looks like a cliff face that we'd have to climb, so that's probably going to slow us down.
Genuinely is, yeah. So every time I'm going to have people move, the Nicholas, Marty, and Tamara are going to move 2 squares. Sean, you're going to move 4, and Kerj is going to move 5. Right. Everybody got that?
Yep.
That's until and unless you start climbing stuff, and then things will change a little. So, everybody go take a move.
We will be climbing on our next round.
Right you are. Okay. So, you get to the bottom of the cliff and start to take a look up. Tamara's kind of taking a look at where the best option to climb is, because she's quite a good climber. You can see her taking her backpack off, stripping the heaviest of our equipment, putting the helmet back on, because she can't help feeling that being invisible when she gets to the top of a cliff, she can't see if there's an enemy on, might be useful. She starts strapping our weapons in so that they're not going to drop out as she climbs. She picks out her favourite rope. She starts attaching the grappling iron ready. She makes sure that all our pitons are ready. That's actually going to take some time. So if the other 2 would both like to make a move whilst your party are preparing to climb.
I like that she has a favourite rope.
Yes. She feels to me like the kind of person who would have a favourite rope.
Like me and my favourite teaspoon, which is slightly bigger than all the rest teaspoons. So it's doing spices with.
Yeah. Okay, so you're about to start climbing the side of this this thing. So, are you both going to be climbing at once, or are you sending one of you up first and then see if they fall to their...
I think it makes sense for Tamara to go up first if she's invisible.
Yeah.
And she can knock in some pitons and
Yeah, that's right. Also,
tie off
she
the
is
rope,
the,
etc.
yeah, exactly. She is the best climber, which is why during your first ever mission, when you had to go and climb a cliff to collect those reagents, you sent her and everybody else just cheered her on from the ground. Okay, so she
We
takes.
were very encouraging.
You were very encouraging, yes. I'm sure it was a great help to her.
See, Kerj could have flown up.
Yes.
Not at the time, though.
Not at the time.
No,
Didn't gain that ability
I didn't
later.
have Lesser Beast form. I only had the 4 minor spells.
That's right. Okay, so Louise, go ahead and make a climb roll for Tamara, please. It's a relatively easy cliff to climb.
Not to say though.
Not to say no. The part you've picked is actually the easiest part, according to my notes here, so that's worked out quite well.
It's on
And we've lost it.
dexterity, yeah?
Yes. Dexterity
Climbing
climbing.
to strength.
Sorry, strength
Oh,
climbing.
is it?
Yeah.
Oh, my bad. Sorry, ignore that roll.
She should have.
Oh,
the,
there it is. Sorry, I
Usually
didn't
climbing
see
focus,
it. Right. There's the proper roll then, which is much better.
Okay, so 14 and with 3 points of stunts as well. So she's climbed up and hammered in enough pitons with those 3 points of stunts that anybody else climbing up after her will gain +1 on all their climb rolls.
Cool. I also have climbing gear. Well, Nicholas has climbing gear. Would that add anything?
Perfect. It'll give you +1, which actually I should have mentioned Tamara gets as well.
Sweet.
So she's a part of the way up. It's going to take a total of, let me see now, that height is going to take 3 climbs in total to get to the top.
Yeah.
So you've done a climb, which means the other 2 get to do a move in that period.
Doing a climb.
Do diagonals count as 2?
No, diagonals count as 1,
All right.
as the crow flies.
So,
Okay. So, second climbing roll for Tamara, please.
Yep. Oh, come on.
We're all sitting here with bated breath because it's a cliffhanger.
Oh, it been rolled twice. I'm sorry.
Same
That's okay,
value.
I'll just take, yeah, it hasn't been actually. Except
But the first one had
comes
four.
up with
First
4
one's
points of stunts. So, Tamara's climbing up the cliff face. She finds a section that breaks off under her hand. Bits of stone tumble down. She swings on the rope around so that none of them hit her in the face. Now hanging by just the rope and where it's tied off and one hand above. She realises that shelf's not going to hold. So she looks around, spots another one, and swings herself on the rope across to it. Grabs for it. She manages to grab, hammers a piton in, ties the rope off, and climbs up. Anyone coming up behind her now will get +2 on their climb rolls. Yeah, so the others can go ahead and make another move.
well, on this one, I'm landing at their feet.
Okay. So we're
On a cliff.
yeah.
As Tamara's climbing up, this bird hits her in the head.
Well, bear in mind Tamara's climbing up, but at the moment Nicholas Marty's still at the bottom, keeping the rope taut. And
Tomorrow's invisible.
Yeah, Tamara's invisible.
That's a point. Yeah, I'll just give it to Nicholas. I think that's
So
going to be
you
the
kind of
easiest.
circle and land at Nicholas's feet. Nicholas, you're a bit surprised because you haven't seen any birds here before, except
I was
dwarf.
gonna say, do I recognise that as Kerj, or am I just like, bird?
Make a perception seeing test.
See, it's got a rope on its note on its neck.
The thing is, no, Nicholas hasn't actually seen my hawk form before
Exactly.
because the last time I used it, Mog was in the party.
That's
Yeah.
right.
It's okay, my half elf eyes, I think.
Yes,
Seen it's got a note.
you don't initially recognise it as Kerj, but you notice it's got a note and it occurs to you that that's probably Kerj taken yet another form. So you reach down, take the
Hey
note and
there,
start to
buddy.
Car,
Do you want a treat?
car.
Through my point, see if I have any
Here's a nice worm.
Yeah.
Piece of meat.
All right, I take the note and I give the note a read over, and I'm like, oh, whoops.
Bit of beef jerky.
Okay,
Okay.
so go on.
How the heck am I going to tell Tamara this? Because I can't exactly shout it up the cliff.
No,
can I?
don't shout. We're just telling you what's going on.
Okay.
You'll just have to tell her when
So-
you get up there.
Yeah.
Okay, fair enough. We'll just climb all the way up to go all the way back down again.
No.
Okay, why not?
So Kerj is heading to Reaping Skull. He's out of magic, trying
Right.
to take control of it. And then this is letters from me,
Right.
Alran,
Yeah, okay.
working my way back to you. Kerj will meet us,
Okay, right.
There.
Fair enough.
and
Yeah,
we should
fair
try to remove control. Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. I see. I've left out some detail there, haven't I?
Yes. Slightly confused.
Sorry.
I
Sorry.
get it. Fine.
Yeah.
Also,
But I will-
very
I'm
important point. What you've just read back versus what's written. I'm not trying to take control of it. I'm trying to take it out of control.
That's what it says. Trying to take out of control.
Yeah, but that's not what you read. You
Was
said
not.
trying to take control of it.
Oh well, never mind.
I missed that. Ah, right.
That's
okay,
what was
so I
written.
spotted. Yep. Okay, so
Very important point.
you realise that you might as well just keep heading for the top of the thing and then wait for Alderan to catch up. So, make tomorrow's third and final climb roll to get to the top of that cliff.
Well, we hope it's final, unless she comes tumbling down.
Nah, not with that
10.
roll, she didn't. She just scampers up to the top, ties the rope off, hooks the grappling iron into the thing that will hold it the most, and then indicates, she takes her helmet of invisibility off, waves at you to come up, puts the helmet of invisibility back on, checks the area.
Show off.
Everybody, everybody else may make a movement.
Okay.
Boom. So I've now arrived at the base of the cliff.
Yeah. So
Yay.
Nicholas Marty, he is somebody. Well, actually, probably won't here. Nicholas Marty jumps out of his skin as somebody emerges from the trees behind him.
Oh, bloody hell. Don't do that. Especially not here.
Stealth.
Okay, because you had a pathfinder make the way up for you a lot easier, you two are only going to have to make one climb roll each to get to the top.
Right. Okay. I'll.
Can I go first? Because if I fall, then someone
Yes.
catch me because I have a strength of -1.
No,
Oh,
that's fine. What we'll do is, am I able to shoot another rope up to the top?
Probably not all the way because it's quite a distance. Possibly. What's your strength?
Strength is a 1. I wasn't going to say throw, but shoot with the bow.
Oh, in that case, yeah, definitely.
No, strength's actually 2.
Yeah, you can definitely shoot one up there. I mean, unlike in the films, an arrow's not actually strong enough to hold somebody's weight. But if you're just firing it up there and then having Tamara
Like, so it goes
grab
up and over the
rope,
top of the cliff, it sticks in the ground, she grabs a hold of it, so we've got a second rope. We can tie it around
She
Nicholas
can then tie
Marty,
it
brace
off
it
to
around a rock, yeah,
Yes, you
and
can do that.
aid somebody to actually climb.
Yes.
That's
the
very
idea.
undignified.
Right.
So do I need to make a roll for this?
Nah, I don't think so. So you take aim, you fire. The bows, the arrow's a little bit back heavy, but after a shot or two, you manage to get it up there. Understanding what you're doing, Tamara rushes in and grabs the rope that you've managed to fire up there, pulls it up a bit, ties it off around the closest solid piece of stone she can find, makes sure it's secure. A head appears over the top again as she takes her helmet off so you can see her. She waves you up, puts the helmet back on, disappears. Pff. Okay,
Yeah.
so your climb roll now, then you only need the 1 to get to the top.
Yep.
You can you get the +2 that she gave you for the clever position of the pitons, and you get plus
Yep.
1 for the extra rope as well. So that's a
Oh.
total of plus 3 on your strength climbing roll.
Which surprisingly wasn't that bad to start with.
It wasn't too bad. So with a plus 3, that's going to be a pass.
Yeah.
You find it a little bit difficult. You're scrambling up. This is not your bag. You're not really used to this kind of thing. You don't like it. You're not happy about it. You get so far up and you kick a chunk of rock off. It goes bouncing down the cliffside.
It's got a good beat though.
And just breaks apart when it hits the ground. And all you can think is, that could have been me. That would be what would happen to me if I fell off. This causes you to scurry up the rest of the way, clamber onto the flat top of the plateau, crawl away from the cliff as best you can, gasping and panting for breath, and just like, oh my god, I never want to have to do that again.
Until I inevitably have to.
Yes. Tamara unties the rope from your waist and throws that end back down again, so that Alderan will also gain plus 3 in total to his climb roll.
Ta-da!
Ta-da, brilliant. Alderan, on the other hand, practically walks up the side of the... He just takes the rope in one hand, braces his feet on the thing, and just walks up, hand on over hand on the rope, feet just walking up the side of the cliff, gets to the top, barely broken a sweat by the time he gets to the top. Meanwhile, Kerj, you've made it to the Reaping Skull.
Oh, okay.
This is
So,
the repeat spell.
And I'll take you over to the Reaping Skull.
It's all gone dark.
Yes. It's probably because there's only
Kerj over there.
Kerj over there. Actually, I'm not sure. Kerj just models.
I'm here.
You can see the Reaping Skull? Ah, there you are. Right, yeah.
Okay.
It's not resolving properly on my screen, but never mind. So you're at the Reaping Skull. Ah, there it is. It has now.
Yeah.
You're at the Reaping Skull.
So what you need to do is you need to get some itching powder and put it on the inside of each of his animal skins.
Now, as I went in there, did Kerj actually see what I saw, or was that an error?
That was an error. I still had the
Right.
the Valley Huntsman in there. I've just switched them off. So you obviously saw him before I managed to switch him off. I did.
did.
In time. Yeah. Okay. But no, you get inside. The whole place smells like a butcher's abattoir. There are 3 animals in cages at the far end. There is a corrupted boar and 2 dire wolves, each one in a separate cage. You can see
Right.
there is already a green glowing effect around the hide that's hanging up here. When you take a closer look at that hide, it's not actually an animal hide, it's a human's flayed skin.
Ah, exactly what I was expecting.
Yeah. So it's almost petrified, it's so old, it's hung from the,
Yeah,
the side.
That's his original skin.
It's his original skin, yes.
Right. Okay.
So if you were to grab hold of that and fly out the window and then drop it in the river or something, and it gets washed away downstream.
Well, I don't know. What I want to do? How long have we got based on the 6 hours that Callum mentioned?
You have 3.5 left.
Right.
No, you haven't. That's wrong. Sorry, my mistake. You have used 3, so you've got 3 left. Yeah.
Okay. I'm going to drop my beast form. And I'm going to make an arcane investigation into this as to I'm no longer the same bear token I was before.
No, because that's an old token that's on that page. I can get your new one over.
It's 6 and 2/3, mate. No worries at all.
I went to a lot of trouble to make the new one.
Oh, well, very well then. That's absolutely fine.
You're using your new token.
I'll use the new token quite happily. I just didn't want to put you to any additional stress.
It's like
Quick question, Bryan.
Ben the other day when he was like, we might not actually play RuneQuest now that you've all generated your character. Like, I spent 6.5 hours generating a RuneQuest G character. You're gonna fucking run it, my lad.
Yeah, it's a case of if that's not happening, you're going out in the back and you're getting a kick in.
Yeah,
right
exactly.
now.
It's like, but I'm safe. I'm in London. It's like you've got to come back sometime. Right. Okay. So I've zoomed in a bit on Kerj. So whilst
Right.
you're over there looking at that,
Yes.
the others are assembling on the cliff face outside the
Okay.
other major store.
Cliff top.
Cliff
We're on
top,
on the
rather.
top.
On
Yeah.
the top.
I do have a quick question, Bryan. No,
Yes,
this
go
is
ahead.
like out of game, as it were. The tokens that have been generated, is it worth mentioning how and where?
Actually, yes, it is. For those of you who are listening, if you're interested in a lot of the tokens we're currently using for the characters, taking a look at this one here, this is Kerj Razorclaw in his bear form, and we also have the other characters that we've been using. I'll just take a quick thing. We made these using Hero Forge, which, if you're not familiar with Hero Forge, give them a look. You can create... It was actually originally designed to create 3D printed miniatures. If you take a $5.99 subscription, you gain the ability to create these as tokens as well. You actually create them as a 3-dimensional one, and then you tilt them as you want them. So because we prefer the top-down view, we use them like this, but you can actually create them where you're looking straight at the character's face as well, and you can pose the characters, paint the characters in the thing, and so on. So that's Hero Forge. If you want to take a look at that, we can heartily recommend it. Okay, back to Kerj.
Okay. Didn't you say that they were gathering on the cliff? Did they not get a turn from that?
Yes, we'll do that. Not least because
Okay.
I've lost track of where I am. Right, yes, I see.
Sorry.
That's fine. Let me just have a look at the fuck the cliff map. Oh, I don't appear to have a map for that skull. It's the only skull I don't have a map for. But there's a reason for that. So I'll just take you back to the larger map instead, and we'll zoom in. There, we'll zoom in over here, and there's the rest of the party.
It's very warm today.
It is very warm today, yes.
20 degrees, unfortunately.
Yeah,
I've just had to take a layer of clothing off because I'm actually starting to sweat.
yeah. I've had the fan running in the back of the room, just hopefully far enough out away from the headset. So
No,
we're
we
not
can't
hearing
hear it.
Good.
So,
All my windows are open, so if you hear the sounds of Soul Grave, I'm sorry.
Yeah, not to worry. The cat's kind of passed out in a puddle on the bed as well. She looks like this is the point at which she's wishing she was one of those cats that doesn't have fur, I think. Okay, so you guys are outside the shaping skull. What would you like to do?
do we want to have a sneak and look in, a sneak and peek? Is it the same as the Skull of Fear and the Skull of Seeing with that actual opening
Yes.
at the base of the jaw?
It is, yes.
Sneak up and have a peek.
Okay.
I think.
Sorry, say that again?
I was agreeing.
Ah, right, okay. So,
Now, if we send in Tamara,
Yep.
yeah, would she have a better chance of not being seen?
yes.
Well, obviously she won't be seen. You know what I mean? But it's like it's
Being detected.
being detected rather than me.
Yes.
Yeah.
You
Okay.
think so, anyway. You think so. Because, I mean, you're very good at hiding, but she's actually invisible with the helmet on, so you suspect.
Yeah.
Having said that, you're much quieter than her, so and the helmet also fits you. So if you borrowed the helmet temporarily, you would be very quiet and invisible. So that might be the best of 3 options. Alternatively, Tamara's quite good in close quarters if you get attacked up close, and she can take more hits than you can as a more heavily armoured. So swings and roundabouts, depends how you all decide to go with it.
What do we want to do?
I think it makes sense for you to borrow the helmet just for a little bit, just to read.
Well, okay, right. If everybody's happy for me to do that, then I will do that.
Okay.
Yeah, you want me to make a stealth roll at this point? Do I get a bonus for the helmet?
Yes, you do. You get +3.
Right, okay, so it's this +3.
Okay, let me have a look. Okay, 17, that's a pass. So you creep into the area and are quite surprised. Right, yes. Quite surprised to discover the inside of the skull is empty. Apart from it's covered in runic writings, the inside, just like some mad person. They're not even in like sentences or strings, they're just splattered all over the place. It's overlapping one another, utterly jumbled and chaotic. In the centre of the skull's brain cavity, you find what actually appears to be part of a brain, but just part of one, as if it's been hacked away from the rest of the brain and just left there on its own. And over the years, it's shriveled somewhat, become desiccated initially, and then become petrified. And yet, it seems to be sort of vaguely pulsing.
And that's when the music from War of the Worlds
Yeah, exactly.
kicks in. It's pulsating.
Yes.
Its quivering, lipless mouth.
Yes.
Ooh la. Nathaniel.
Is it the original master?
Nathaniel, no.
So the game then.
Yeah,
Is it the original master? Is it the original master?
No, it looks far too big. Even with this just being a portion of the brain, it is
The original Titan.
the original Titan, yeah.
I wasn't discounting that a Titan could be the original masters.
Oh, I hadn't thought of that. All right, okay, good point. Yeah.
Yes, I've seen this
Forest
weirdness. And I mean, is this the same as the Skull of Seeing with various things, or is all this on it's all open in there?
It's all open in there, yeah.
And is this actually on the floor?
Yeah, well,
On the roof?
it's on the floor, yeah.
Kind of routine.
There's
right.
kind of tendrils that lead out from the side of the skull, like gripping the brain itself. Like it must have originally been connective tissue, but over the years it's similarly warped the way the brain has.
On Tamara's behalf, if she can see it,
It's me.
right. So Tamara can't see in this brain at all.
Not
I
yet,
was
no.
going to say just me.
Right. Can I throw out an idea about what might be going on, or not? Because I'm not there.
Well, you can throw out an idea about what's going on.
Because I'll actually, what I'll actually do then is I'll sneak back and I'll inform the others about what I've seen,
Good
Right.
idea. Okay.
and then you can say it's
Yeah.
Check
Tamara's
the
idea.
check the brain for any kind of cuts or gouges, little bits that might have been sliced off and consumed or implanted in various masters.
Well, it definitely looks like it's been chopped and cut.
Yeah.
Because that's what he said.
Okay.
It wasn't a whole brain. There was parts
Well,
of
It's
the majority of a brain.
I think what you said was shrunken and desiccated. Is that right?
I mentioned
parts
that as
missing.
well. Yes, there's large parts missing. All right.
Yeah, I think that this has been used to put into people.
Implants.
Mm.
So what do we want to do then, people? Are we gonna run in and start hacking at it?
I'm so conflicted right now.
Or do we want to hit it with a hammer?
Yeah, I feel like we should probably do something.
Stab it with a magical sword?
Because, yes. Because on one hand, it could be that it is the source of everything that's going horribly wrong, or on the other hand, it could be something that's been made to suffer, and it shouldn't be made to suffer after all of this time. So I feel like either option, we should stab it.
Well, Louise, going by our usual kind of moral standpoint, if this thing's still alive, it could be healed.
That's Morg, not Nicholas, though.
Yeah.
And considering all the bad stuff that's happened.
Yeah.
Right. Okay, so I'll give the helmet back to Tamara.
Okay. You give...
And
Yeah.
and Titans, are they a type of giant?
Yeah, I believe so.
Yes, they are.
Oh, well.
At last.
Yes.
Mm,
Get the
there we
sword of
go.
giant poking.
Yeah. Okay, so our plan is we're going to sneak in, right? As much as we can, and then are we going to attack it? What are we going to do?
I don't know.
Or do we
I
attempt
feel like
to talk to it? It could. It could try and stun us or something. You know, I don't know.
Like,
Sorry, Louise,
is
go
this
ahead.
going to work like a gigantic intellect devourer? It could do
An
that.
overmind, yeah.
Control
Yeah.
our minds.
It might. You don't know.
Is it what's been whispering the whole time?
Well, I reckon our best option is A, to shoot it, and B, stab it.
Hang about.
Like that.
The place is full of runes. You might want to try and translate them and work them out.
Yeah, I think that's a good idea.
Okay. Heading inside... Sorry, go on.
Are there any runes on the brain?
Oh God, I've just had a horrible thought.
Okay.
Yeah.
Melora feed us on our first night here.
Did...
Melora feed us.
Yes.
Have we been eating brain?
You might think that. I couldn't possibly comment.
Ah!
Why would I didn't eat it though,
No.
if you remember.
I did. I've been hearing voices.
Oh dear, how sad. So as you move inside, you can see this pulsating segment of brain. There definitely used to be more brain than this. It's definitely been cut away. The rest of it's been cut away. You can feel it sort of pulsing.
Sorry.
And you can all hear the voice in your mind as well.
Oh no.
Join
It's
me.
going.
Become the master. You are so much stronger than the last. So what would you like to do? I know what you would all like to do. You'd all like to make willpower self-discipline tests.
I can't use courage here.
Nope, I'm afraid not. It's willpower self-discipline test. So
Here we go.
Oh dear. Okay. So Alderon's kind of stunned for the first round as well, but only just.
So I roll an 18, beats 17.
I did say I was adding +2.
All right, okay. I didn't hear you say that.
All right, I need somebody to roll for tomorrow as well.
Oh, sorry, my bad.
Okay.
Oh God.
Oh shit! Wait a minute. No, hang on. There's 3 skulls not currently under control, isn't? No, that's right. +2. Yeah, I'm okay. Good. We're good to go. I was right.
I was going to say, but is Tamara affected because she's invisible?
Well, it doesn't matter. It's the
Just
sound
got
of the voice in
ears.
our brain. Yeah. So, all 3 of you are currently stunned, except for Tamara, who's thinking, perhaps I could become the master of the valley. Perhaps I should stab these 2 and take control.
Oh no.
The valley's also gained 6 points of stuns. So, what it's going to do is... Let me think now. It's going to cause a psychic shock to all of you. So, if you could all give me a intelligence test, please. You're trying to
Do
beat
I-
13, and if you beat 13, you take half the damage I'm about to roll.
Can I add anything to this? Or is it just straight intelligence?
You might be able to add something to it. Let me see now. Intelligence.
I've got musical law, water arcana, and protection arcana.
I'll allow you to add the protection arcana. Okay, so Nicholas has passed. He's going to take half damage. Tamara has
Not rolled.
not
Hang on, I'm
rolled,
doing that now.
failed,
There
and
we
is going to take full damage. And Alderan's failed, is going to take full damage. So let me see. Those of you who took damage took 7 points of damage. Those of you who took half damage take 3 points of damage.
Does armor count?
No, this is
No.
No,
This is
okay.
psychic damage. It's going direct to your brain. If you are reduced to 0, you will become the thrall of the skull, or if
Yep.
you choose to, the master. So, pardon me. Sorry about that. Excuse me, everybody. Back over to Kerj. What would Kerj like to do?
Right, so I need the view changed, please. I'm currently looking at the view map, the valley map.
Yeah, you should set it on fire.
I'm kind of thinking that way. Are there runes carved around the inside of the skull?
The skull you're in, no, but there are some around the altar instead.
Right, can I read those?
Yes. Yeah, it seems to be the instructions for the ritual.
Okay.
So give me an intelligence arcane law roll, please. Oh, easy. And with 3 points of stuns. Right.
Lovely.
In fact, you've done so well of reading that, I'm going to say if you'd like to, I'll put 3 points straight in your ritual pool.
Yes, please.
Okay. So, you read the ritual, and as you're reading the instructions, you start to enact the first ritual. You can almost hear this voice in your head trying to convince you, like greasy tendrils, almost exactly the way Callum described it, trying to push its way into your brain, trying to convince you to become the controller of the skull. Currently, you're just interested in unraveling the skull from unraveling control of the skull and completing the ritual that will just dampen it down. It'll just sort of make it inert for a while.
Yes.
Back to the others then. You may all attempt to break the skull's hold on you this round. It doesn't get us +2 on this round. So 15 you're going to need to beat.
What about me? You said I was only stunned for 1 round.
Yes, okay. It's lost its because it's distracted by what's happening in the other skull. Yeah, you're okay, Sean. Yeah.
So we're all doing intelligence rolls again.
Yes, you are. Yeah.
Or was it willpower?
Well, sorry, willpower. Yes.
Oh, sorry.
Yeah. Sorry. Go ahead and re-roll that because I gave you the wrong instruction. Wow.
Oh.
Okay, so you're going to take another dice of psychic damage.
Tomorrow did better.
Tamara's broken it as well. So you take 6 points of psychic damage from Nicholas Marty. So he's clutching his head. He's like thumped to his knees, clutching his head, screaming, "Get out of my mind! The whispers! The whispers!"
I like the ones with the caramel on top. Yeah.
Yeah, I find caramel too sweet, so I prefer the. I prefer something like a twirl or something that's.
Must be gold.
No, it's far too sweet for me. Okay, so what would the other two like to do? The two that have managed not to be controlled by the brain this round.
Right. At this point, do we think we've got the ability to actually do damage to this thing?
Yes.
I feel
Right.
like it's a good way to find out.
Because what's its dexterity?
0, funnily enough. Well, actually, it's not. It's -2.
But it's immobile, so
Yeah.
shooting at it,
Yeah.
it's not a moving target.
No.
But I'm going to shoot at it.
Its
Would be what I'd
defense
do.
is. Let me just have a look. Its defense is 4, so it's pretty easy to hit.
I don't think I can miss.
Possibly not.
And well, given that maybe a 111 would be something drastic at that point.
Yeah. And it's worth rolling anyway in case you get stunts. Which you did.
Bloody hell.
So, first of all, you've got 5 points of stunts you can select. You also have damage to roll. Now, one of the things you can do with stunts, one specialist stunt in this circumstance, is for a 3-point stunt, you can break its hold on somebody else's mind.
Right, which I will do that for Nicholas Marty, and I will do an extra dice of damage then in that case.
Right, excellent. Go ahead.
I
Nicholas,
take
you
it
hear
it's
a sudden scream inside your head and then the whispering stops.
As a migraine sufferer, I'm having a lot of sympathy pains right now.
Yeah, absolutely.
so I'm just going to basically shoot for the extra dice of damage at this point in
Go
that
for it,
case. Boom.
Okay, excellent. That's not bad. So you
That's really
shoot it
good.
in the brain. Unfortunately, in a sense, the brain is not as squishy as it might have been before it was petrified. You have still, however, done some damage. You've knocked a chunk off the brain, surprisingly enough. Next up will be Tamara.
Tamara's gonna move towards it if she's not already next to it and stab it.
Right, and hers is the giant killer longsword,
Yeah.
isn't it? Okay,
Yes.
roll to hit. And do damage as if it was a giant. When you
Yeah,
do hit.
giant killer longsword versus giants.
Yeah. That's a hit and with 3 points of stunts as well.
Right, hang on, I don't have combat stunts open.
Lightning attack.
Yeah,
lightning
absolutely.
attack.
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay, so she's just going ballistic on this thing. She's just whacking it
Yes.
with a sword.
Right, so roll the damage then for this one.
Yeah.
Ouch.
That's good.
And roll another attack.
Yeah. So 18 off 3. Oh, shit. Okay.
And roll damage again. It's well worth doing if you've got a high
Yeah.
damage
Ah, shit.
and you're guaranteed almost virtually to hit it.
So, how would Tamara like to do this?
Very swearily.
She
Okay.
cleaves it in twain.
Yeah, she just brings her sword out of its sheath, swinging overhand with a stream of bad language, just slices down into the brain once, then backwards twice, then a third time, and thrusts. And she just keeps whacking and whacking and whacking till this petrified brain just becomes chunks of semi-petrified flesh, just littering the ground, scattered across the floor. So none of you have to worry about about the psychic attacks of the brain.
Tamara would like to rage. Jeez.
She did get a little bit angry there, didn't? When was the last time she ate? Somebody give her a Snickers.
Preferably not one full of brain.
Yeah, absolutely. Okay, so the rest of you are
Got
going
some brain jerky.
the rest of you presumably are going to try and use the ritual to unbind the skull.
Yep.
The rest of us.
Yeah. Well, there's only Nicholas hasn't gone this round, and also Nicholas is the only mage, to be fair. So
Yeah.
Nicholas to go then.
Okay, dokie.
I take it we can't heal up psychic damage.
You can heal up psychic damage with a breather, yes.
All right. Well, basically, I think Tamara and I will take up watch positions and
Okay.
Yeah.
You take up watch positions. Unfortunately, you appear to have annihilated all the controlling entities. So, in the previous fight, despite the fact that two of them were going to try and escape to make their final stand here, that didn't pan out. Okay, so Nicholas Marty, to make your...
Can I sing and dance this ritual?
You can, yes, I'll allow you to do it that way and add your performance again. Because I like the concept. Okay. So, now becoming quite familiar with these rituals, you begin to say... Again, I'm going to say, at any point, if anybody fails a round during the ritual, there will be a negative consequence for you. However, you have succeeded on the first round of the ritual, added 5 points into the pool. Zipping over to Kerj as he attempts to unbind the unbinding ritual over at the skull he's in as well.
Mm-hmm.
Go ahead.
Is that a further arcane law roll?
It is, yes.
Right. As I'm doing this, is the reincarnation of the Valley Huntsman directly connected to this skull and its abilities?
It is, yes.
Right.
So if you can unbind this one, and you've failed.
Oh dear.
Yes, indeed, oh dear. So I did mention there was going to be negative consequences. So, as you continue the skull, you hear a sort of growling. Oh shit, you're on the cliff face, aren't you? Right, okay, can't do that then. Okay, so what you get instead is you hear the voices in your mind. Don't just destroy us. Become our master. You can control us. You know you can. You're strong enough. Make an opposed willpower test. You may add the self-discipline focus if you would like to. Shit, I think you're going to beat him that time. Yes, you did. Okay, so he attempted to make an attack on you to try and seize control of you to convince you to become the new master. He failed. You fought that off. However, you don't get to add anything to your ritual pool this round. So, over on the other cliff face, you guys, second part of the ritual. Go ahead and make your roll, Louise.
Oof.
Bloody hell. Right, okay, you're definitely getting the hang of this. You're dancing around the ruined remains of what used to be part of a Titan skull.
It's a very stompy dance.
Yes, a very stompy dance. Reciting the words to
moonwalking around,
yes.
crunching on the pieces.
You can feel the skull's power starting to slip, starting to release the power over the valley, starting to ease. You can hear the voices in your head, but they're so quiet you can't make out what they're saying, so you don't even have to worry about thinking about listening to them. And Kerj next. Could I have a roll for you, please?
The cheerleading squad's going. Nicholas Marty, he's the bard. If he can't do it, it's too hard.
Arcane law, yeah?
Yes, yeah. Okay, you've passed this time and added 2 points. So, shaking your head to try and get rid of this insidious effect of the mind that's trying to crawl into yours and convince you to take control of the valley. You continue the ritual. You notice that the 3 altered animals in the cages are now ramming the cages. Just running bang, bang, as if they're trying to burst the cages open. Okay, Nicholas, can I have a roll from you, please?
Yep.
14, and that's another success. As you continue your ritual, you can feel the tendrils in your mind trying to take over, and angrily you just kind of snap back at them. They reel backwards. You complete the ritual, and with a sudden pulse in your head, you can feel as these voices are silenced forever.
Yes.
And the skull is unbound.
Oh, phew.
There's
goodness.
no longer a master of that skull. You're not the master of it. You're not even tempted to be the master of it. You're just so angry that it even tried to control you. There's only one skull left to deal with, and that's the one that Kerj is in. Kerj, go ahead and
Right.
make your try.
I shall continue.
At this point, people,
Yep.
I think we should be, if this one's done,
Yeah, we
Yes.
should try and get
our
her.
next move is to go and find Kerj,
Yeah.
Okay.
meet up with him.
Now, down the back of the skull, there is a hidden route down, which actually Sean you spotted on the map a couple of weeks ago. So you can walk down from here. It's off to the northeast of you. Kerj, I've just done your roll, haven't you? I've added 2. Right, okay. The animals are thrashing about madly, just trying to get out of these cages, trying to fling themselves at the cages, snarling at you as you continue this ritual, dancing around the central altar to deconsecrate it from the evil power that's influenced this this place so far. Go ahead and make another roll. And that's a pass, so that's another 4 points in the ritual roll. That takes you up to 11. So the animals are still throwing themselves, trying to get at you so they can tear you limb from limb and stop you doing what you're going to do, because they're aware that you're almost there. You almost destroyed the valley's evil, or at least dampened it down for a few years. You ignore them completely and continue what you're doing. You can feel these voices trying to get your attention. You can hear the whispers in your head, but you're just ignoring them. Make another roll. Almost there. It's almost within your grasp.
Bang.
Shit. And as you
Fresh
complete...
as-
Sorry, go ahead.
I was going to say, as fresh as the moment when the evil went.
Pop. Yeah, exactly. As you complete the ritual, the 3 animals in the cages just settle down. They just sit. The wolves start to whimper. The boar's fire goes out. You can see that the green essence around the flayed skin of the valley huntsman. You can see the green glow just disappears. The skin itself begins to rot in the way it never had before. It begins to decay as time catches up to it, and it just disintegrates and falls to the ground and splat.
Ew.
You can feel the lightness. The air just seems to have become less dense. The tension in the whole valley is at an end. Those of you who are coming down from the other skull, you know that Kerj has succeeded because you feel the difference. And as you see Kerj come out of the reaping skull at the far end, you raise your hands to wave to him. He waves back, and as he does, you see a dove alights upon his hand.
Oh.
The first
Beautiful.
bird that he didn't bring with him to enter this valley in at least 10 years. As you look around, you can see the animals in the valley. You can see where they were starting to gather to try and get at you. You can see them just kind of wander off. Some of them start chasing each other in much more natural rhythms than they would have done. The bony exuberances of some of the animals just fall away. The ones that were on that had that strange fire coming off them, the fire just drifts away. You can see hanging vines dropping out of trees left and right, new flowers springing up as birds of all kinds start to return to the valley. And the valley once again returns, if it ever was, returns to some semblance of normality, as the wilderness wanderers have achieved one of their most significant victories to date, having defeated
Right.
the Valley of Whispering Titans.
Wonderful.
Nicholas does something similar to the dance that Ewoks do at the end of Return.
Right, we've got a load of skulls on a thing.
Exactly, drums now.
Yub nub.
Over,
Yes.
over the course of the next day or two, the things that become most apparent to you are that The valley seems to be a normal valley now. You can't hear the whispering sounds anymore. Just the sense of magical energy around has gone. The animals are behaving normally. The birds are back in the trees. Melorsa's just disappeared. You've no idea where she's gone. You assume she got sick of waiting to meet up with somebody and just left. And when she discovered that she can exist outside the valley, you assume that she's decided to do exactly that. And with that, thank you very much for playing. That was the Valley of Whispering Skulls, as heavily modified by myself. So if anybody at home was going to be a player in that campaign for someone else, you won't have encountered too many spoilers, because you won't know which bits I fiddled with and which bits I didn't. So thank you very much for listening. Hope you enjoyed it. We'll be back next week with an all new story and not new characters. You've maybe encountered them before if you've watched some of the others. But next week we'll return with the Company of Light as they begin their next major quest.